start here. So I can be like, oh yeah. No, last week, I was in an existential crisis. On to the change. I was reading about camp this year. I thought you were about to say Larry David. I was like, holy. Sorry, wait, what's your name?
I'm Maddie.
Maddie Clay.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Walt.
Maddie. Yep.
Are you?
Jason.
Oh, Jason. Give me the 30 second. Give me the 30 second.
All in podcast. Yeah.
I hadn't seen this before.
Okay, I didn't see this before yeah.
I randomly started following him on Twitter. Oh,
yeah. Twitter is, yeah.
They've always been trying to get off social media. I need to get rid of the hive mind. Yeah. I know, I've been suffering. Dude, I ordered a drink literally last week. Have you seen this? Yeah. I ordered one last week. It's called the water storm. And you can't get it off. Just text call Don't let that tear you down. Don't let the reviews tear you down.
Hey guys, I'm going to ask you to take chairs before you take back tables, please. Thank you. So fill in the chairs here and here, please.
Wait, Alex? Yeah. Dude, I was just there with him. Yeah, dude, he's super. I was there yesterday. Are you catching? Make sure we get that. No, I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it. It's just, I thought it was interesting. Damn, you can go out and jump there. See, at Genesis, we were like offended by our it was just like surprise, and then I think like the rest of the thing was just like distracted by the class. So we've never seen this before. Hey, bro.
this is a class, so we do a quiz at the beginning of every class for the students in it. So if you're not in the actual Canvas or class, you do not need to do this. But for all students, you know the run a show here. We're going to do the quiz, and then we're going to kick things off. Awesome.
All right. While you're finishing up the test, for those of you that aren't taking the test, who here is not enrolled in the class? Mind raise your hand? Yeah. Awesome. I see a bunch of people. You're all sat on the side. For everybody that's here, just so you can get a sense of who's here. Who here is in the computer science department? One chance. Jason, you should look around this too. Do it again. Who's in the computer science department? All right. Who's in engineering? Who's in management or business? Homes? Or anywhere there. Who's in communications? Anybody? Fine arts? Oh, we're back there. Well, fine arts, whatever. What else am I missing?
Architecture.
Architecture? Natural sciences? Liberal arts? All right, awesome. So we have a lot of different groups here. Is anybody not undergrad? One? Too many. So most of the undergrad. Thanks for coming. Anybody's welcome. All right. Who's here at Capital Factory for the first time? Not too many of you. Well, that's good. Glad you've all been here. Well, great. This is the Longhorn Startup class. You can learn more about it at longhornstartup.com. And I'm going to tell you a really, really quick version, and then we're going to get into the pitches. But it's a class that I'm teaching now for about a dozen years. Nick took it the first year that it was taught. Now he works for Capital Factory and helps invest in companies. There's two parts to the class. The first semester of the class in the fall is what we're doing right now, which is the seminar. And it's meant to be open to anybody. It's listed across 5 different departments. The computer science section is open to anybody. And every week is free pizza. And then we start off with very similar to what we're going to do today, but the first 30 minutes is anybody can pitch. So anybody from across the school can come get to do a 2-minute pitch. We give them some feedback, and then somebody wins $100 cash. We do that. We've done that all semester. Then now this is the last class, and so it's just pitches. And again, anybody's welcome to come pitch, and someone's going to win $1,000. So and it's up to me and Jason. But someone's going to win $1,000. And then the second semester, what's coming up in the spring, is what we call the lab. And the lab is an accelerator for students that have startups that are working on businesses. And it's not really for like, I have an idea for a business. It's like, oh, I actually I've started working on it. I've got something, I've built something, I've been talking to customers, I've been doing things. And the idea is to get you time, course credit, and support while you're working on it. It's a 3-unit class. That's a 300-level class. It counts for a bunch of stuff. And we don't give you any work to do except to work on your startup. And you come here and we connect. You get like a $1,000 grant. You get a bunch of like Amazon Web Services credits. You get connected to all kinds of people that can help you. You get a free membership here at Capital Factory, and you can come work here whenever you want, and use the mentor network to meet people as well outside of that. And really, you just get all this support and time to go work on your startup while you're in school. And then at the end, we have a demo day at the end of the semester in the spring, and everybody gets to do a pitch. This room is like totally packed, and somebody gets a $25,000 investment prize at the end. So right now, but really in a lot of ways, the reason we do all this is to help meet all the great people that are working on cool things, so we can try to get you to take the lab, and so we can get you to apply. And so that's what I'm hoping to do all this is to meet everybody and get people to take the lab. And so the lab you apply for, you can't just sign up for the class, and you apply at it's very hard to remember, apply.longhornstartup.com. And so if any of you are thinking about that, I'd love to have you apply. We're going to start doing interviews right after we get back from Thanksgiving. So now is the time to go apply. So anyway, thanks for coming, and we're going to I think about 30 people sign up to pitch, and there might be time for a few extras, but we'll go start with one of the people who signed up first to make sure we have time for them. And then at the end, we'll pick one person to win $1,000. And I'm so fortunate, we're all so fortunate that we have Jason Calacanis here with us. So let's give Jason a round of applause. Yeah, right, exactly. Jason is somewhat new to Austin. Not like he's never been here before, but he recently moved here. His family's here, and he actually moved into Capital Factory. He's got a team here working from here, helping to produce things like This Week in Startups and all kinds of cool programs that he works on. It's really awesome to have him here, be part of the community. But he got to go. He's been to one UT thing, which is he went to the football game this weekend. So that's been his UT experience. So this is his first UT class. It's not on campus, but his entire impression of UT Austin and the students and how good they are is going to be based on what you guys do tonight. So no pressure, but just hope you guys show up for it. So Jason is, I would say Jason, in case you don't know Jason already, Jason's one of the most active investors in the world. He's a super active angel investor. He's invested in lots of companies that you've heard of, like Uber and SpaceX and a whole bunch more that just could list off. Basically, probably if some big name you remember that you know, he probably is an investor in it. He has been all over the place. He's been in New York and in Silicon Valley, on the East Coast, and West Coast. He's been when I first met him, I was pitching my startup on stage at TechCrunch. This was 2008, I think. And he was giving me pitch advice on my startup. That's how I met him. And he was on stage with his dog, actually, a big French bulldog. So in some ways, I'm just trying to live up my best Jason life as I can. But that's when I met him. And since then, we've fortunately gotten to know each other and been friends, and so glad that he came here to Austin. So I want to give Jason a quick minute to say hi. Anything he wants to tell you about launch, or any ways students can plug into what you're doing. If you want to real quick say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, that was a great game. You able to go to the game on Saturday?
Was it the game? Handful.
I think I got better seats than you.
Yeah.
They walked me in through the basement to the marching band. I was on the field, hanging out with Jay, the president of the university. We invest in 100 startups a year. 20,000 of them apply for funding from our firm. Our firm's called Launch. You might have heard of the podcast All In or This Week in Startups. Becoming a founder is the best thing you could possibly do in your career because there is unlimited upside. If you go to work for somebody, that's great, you'll learn. But eventually you're going to want to control your destiny, especially in a world where companies are increasingly disloyal to employees and you are facing global competition. So if you think you're good at communications or design or operations, you're up against somebody in Manila using AI, somebody in Canada willing to work for half the salary you are, and they're willing to work 12 hours a day. Anybody here ever work 12 hours in a day? Raise your hand. Awesome. You're going to need to distinguish yourself when you graduate. You're graduating into an extremely turbulent time. Most startups are requiring less people because the people who are working in startups are using AI. So you are, in all likelihood, when you graduate, going to be facing a world where companies like Google, Apple, I know it's shocking, they don't need you. And there is no job for you at Apple or Google or Facebook. Those companies have the same number of employees this year than they did 3 years ago. They have the same number of employees this year than they did 3 years ago, and they've grown 20 to 40% a year in that time. So let that sink in deeply. The world doesn't need you anymore. at AI. And these big companies are getting wildly profitable, and they're addicted to doing more with less, and then enabling their employees, really elite ones, to get very good at technology and AI to automate as much as possible. And if they can't automate it, they delegate it. And if they delegate it, they delegate it on a global basis to wherever the cheapest, hardest working, least entitled workers are. American workers are super entitled. American workers don't want to work really hard.
Raise your hand if you're entitled.
I think it's kind of like a blue collar school where you appreciate the opportunity, is what I'm told. But there's a lot of entitlement in the world right now, and so CEOs in technology are increasingly looking to other countries to give the jobs, and that's what happened with remote work. With remote work, people refuse to come into offices. So then they just sent the job. So, well, if you don't want to come to the office as an American and work 10, 12 hours a day in startup land or corporate America, we get it. You want life-work balance? Cool. We're sending it to Manila. We're sending it to Canada. We're sending your job to Kenya, any number of places, Ukraine, where they'll, of course, Latin America, recently, right? A lot of developers in Latin America. So it's just a way to scare the shit out of you and get you to start your own company and control your own destiny.
He has a motive.
I do have a motive. I'm just telling you the truth. And the truth is, employment while you're in college is disintegrating in America. It's disintegrating. Anybody here tried to apply for a job in big tech? Raise your hand if you did. Tell me what your experience was.
I got it. I didn't get an interview.
Didn't even get an interview.
Well, I got some interviews, but not big tech.
Yeah. They're just not hiring. It's like a freeze. And I don't think it's changing in the next decade. I think it's going to continue to be attrition and automation. So, be confident, brave, acquire skills, work hard, and team up with 2 or 3 other people and start a company. It is your only chance to be successful in the world, is my guess. I know that I have 3 daughters. I'm preparing for 14 and 2 and 8 years old. I'm preparing them for this world, which is not a lot of jobs. And a lot of the jobs are going to other countries.
So what do you look for? We're going to see a bunch of pitches tonight. What do you look for in a pitch?
You know, in the old days, people loved a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of panache, etc. But we actually invest real money. Josh invests real money. So we look for teams that have 3 co-founders or more and have builders. So we want not idea people. We want a developer, a designer, UX, product manager on the margin. You know, if they're actually really doing product management. People maybe who do customer discovery, sales, those are fine. But you really need to have 2 or 3 builders. And if you can't build the product, the world doesn't need you. A person in a coma has $1 billion idea every day. In their dreams, something goes passing through their brain. A person sleeping has like $10 billion ideas a night. Your ideas mean nothing. That is your ability to execute. And executing in technology in the modern world means being able to use AI, to use design tools, to be able to talk to customers, to be able to recruit elite builders. If you cannot create shit, you are worthless. Let me say it again. If you can't build shit, you're worthless. In this new world. You know, they'll probably tell you some other bullshit and sugarcoat it for you. I'm just going to tell it to you straight. Either you code, you're a designer, or you sell the product. You build it, or you sell it. If you're not building the product, or selling the product, there's not much left.
And especially in a startup.
In a startup, yeah. And even the big companies, they're like communications, PR, marketing. All those jobs are kind of just getting nuked. And they're getting rid of middle management. They're getting rid of product managers. Google had a whole training program for product managers. That's kind of going away too. And they're like, you know what? Let's just put whoever the best developer or designer and UX person is on that. Now, being a developer is hard. Anybody here a developer? Write code? Raise your hand. That's an I. Higher. Great. Awesome. Anybody here a designer, does UX, like actually really builds product? Raise your hand. That's an I. So this is a hack. And then, is there anybody who does something other than design and code? Raise your hand if you do something other. Raise your hand. It's okay. What do you do? nothing. Do nothing. Congrats. You understand how money works. Here's how it works. Get more. Good. It's fine that you studied economics, or if you studied a liberal arts degree, it's fine. You're a well-rounded person. You did great at dinner. You talk about bullshit. But does the world need you? Who needs you? Learn UX. Learn how to build a product. I should even get up to this point in your life. Go learn how to design a product. Think it's complicated? It's not. So you're wrong. You got the wrong degree, and you're wrong about this. You just need to learn how to build a product. There's nothing to do with your economics degree.
All right. So anything else in the pitch you should look for?
It's economics. It's all serious. I'm breaking your jobs a little bit. What do you plan on doing with this economics degree? You gonna go to graduate school for something? Not sure. What year are you in? Okay, you're a junior. You've got 18 months to figure this shit out. You trust me?
Yeah.
You seriously, do you? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back to your dorm after this. Type in UX product design. In literally 10 weeks, you can be as good as anybody. If you just design products, learn how to make wireframes, learn how to use Figma, learn how design works, and how modern product market fit works. If you learn how to do just that, there's a job for you. Like an actual job that will pay you to design products in the world. And you can learn it in 10 weeks.
All right, one more question. I was going to ask what your advice was for students, this time, and I think we got it. So thank you. That was really helpful.
It's scary out
Yeah, it's better. Some people sugarcoat stuff. We gotta give you these wishy-washy answers. Now you know exactly what Jason thinks. So next one. Say you're like a lot of people I meet here, students, like they're like, I'm really into startups. I want to do a startup. I don't know what to go do. I don't have that killer team. I don't necessarily have that skill to. What else can they do to go other than go learn UX? How else can they like plug themselves in, get experience, learn, meet people, the right people, like get improve their odds? Anything else?
I mean, I would say try to get a job at a startup, right? The problem is a lot of startups, if you're dead weight and somebody has to manage you, they're
You
gonna
gotta have something you do. What's your value add?
Yeah, it's like that's like asking like I want to be involved with the Navy SEALs, and it's like, yeah, okay, get on the helicopter. We're gonna go kill Osama bin Laden. Like, what should I do? Stay the fuck out of the way. And that's what's gonna happen if you don't actually skill. Now, if you say I can pilot an Apache helicopter, or I know how to use, a rifle, or good with grenades, or I can put band-aids on people if they get shot, or whatever. I can carry Osama bin Laden's dead body, but maybe there's a use for you. But you have to provide value in the world. And a lot of young people don't provide value. Learn a skill, like a specific, definable skill that can be applied. Being smart is not enough.
Yeah. And back to our first class was, learn a lot about something, right? Like most people don't start a company without knowing a lot about something, be an expert at something.
That's actually an interesting undervalued gift. If you can talk to customers and you like talking to people and
That's a major skill.
That's a major skill. If you know, like, this product is designed for CFOs, and I'm willing to go talk to CFOs and their teams and ask them how they work, what tools they use, and how do they solve problems, and write notes, listen. It's called customer discovery, or sometimes they're called listening labs. You can actually have that as a job. That is a discernible skill, where you do customer support, customer success, customer interviews, and just really understanding customers. That's actually like an actual skill. It's kind of next to product design, next to customer support and sales. And if you are part of the customer support and anywhere near the client, you become very valuable. Very valuable. That's why sales and SDRs is like a secret hack. If you're extroverted and you're good at selling and you like people, you don't even have to be good at selling. If you like people and you like talking to people, you're like a professional talker. Salespeople are professional talkers. They talk to you until you say, yes, I'll give you the money for this product, or no, I don't want this product, fuck off. Like, that's the job of a salesperson. So just keep talking until you say yes or no. Then, third option for people who have no discernible skill other than being alive and knowing economic theory.
All right, we're picking on economics. Okay, so we're going to jump into the pitches. And as you can see, you can expect we're going to get nothing but the real deal here tonight, both feedback from me and from Jason. We're super excited to see your pitches. So everyone who's going to pitch is going to, Jason, you can have them hop on back down. Everyone's going to pitch is going to line up here on the left. Hopefully you already know the order that you're pitching. You get 2 minutes to pitch. Amber is going to give you the warning when you're at your 2 minutes. And after you pitch, Jason or I is going to give you some feedback. Okay? All right. Okay, guys, just to add on to that, we're doing students of the class first. So students who are enrolled in the class are going first, and then we're going to move on to anyone else who is coming here today and is pitching. We're also going to be really strict on that 2 minutes. So like 2 minutes and it's like, that's it.
Oh, you realize that Jason. Jason was tearing us off, man. Oh, very sick.
Wait, everyone knows how the thing and this ring that was on the red.
I'm so lucky. So lucky. I have many pictures and I have 30.
All right, you ready to be the first one? Awesome. You got it.
Hello everyone, my name is Kalechi, and a few weeks ago I was preparing to study for an exam. And I was using my good old friend ChatGPT to help me create a study guide. So now I'm going to do a quick poll here, just show of hands, who here has created a study guide to study for an exam ever in your life before extruding it? You know, keep your hand raised if you enjoyed that experience. Okay, so for the people that didn't raise their hand, you probably didn't. And I mean, I don't blame you, right? You don't care about creating a study guide, all you probably care about is studying. Now, that's a good point that I'll get back to in a moment. First, while I was creating the study guide for ChatGPT, or with ChatGPT, I was getting very annoyed and frustrated. I was getting annoyed and frustrated because I had to manually download all of my files, or the relevant files, from Canvas and input that into my ChatGPT prompt before I could get, like a useful study guide. And as I was looking for other AI tools or other AI solutions that could help with this, I realized that no AI study website could do that because they were all websites. And so I decided to go on the Chrome Web Store, and I found this Chrome extension called Study Buddy. Now with Study Buddy, once I installed it, just like that, the Canvas UI changed. There was a button right beside every Canvas file that when I clicked, would send the file to Study Buddy, and so that way it could be used when creating a study guide. And on top of that, there was even a feature that let me have Study Buddy automatically review the files for me, so I didn't even have to be a part of that process at all. Now eventually, when I was ready to create the study guide, all I had to do was go to the Chrome extension, hit Study Buddy, and then select the topics that I wanted to have Study Buddy to create a study guide based off. Once I clicked the button, all I had to do was wait a few minutes to get a study guide. Now, not only did this save me time, but it also meant that I didn't have to be a part of the process of giving this AI agent context in terms of my course material. Now, this is important because, like the people that didn't raise their hand, I didn't really care about the process of giving this AI model, this AI agent context. All I cared about is studying. Now, in all actuality, Study Buddy is not currently on the Chrome Web Store, but if you scan this QR code and you fill out the form, once it is, you will be the first to know. So once again, my name is Kalechi, and that was Study Buddy.
All right, I'm gonna go quick and let Jason go. Great. Format was great. You followed all the book part, like the playbook, but it felt kind of forced and kind of like the story was long. So it was kind of like, I felt like you could have like said all that in as much or a third as much.
So I think on a presentation front, we understood what you did. Yeah, Josh's point, you got repetitive. because you've got a very like simple product right now, and the value proposition is pretty straightforward. You need a study guide. You define the problem really easily. Stuff is in Canvas. It's hard to get it out of Canvas and into ChatGPT, but with this little Chrome extension, we can now move it. And then it's simpler, faster, easier. No talk of the business model. That's something as investors we're going to want to know. Is it subscription, advertising? Are you selling it to the school? Are you selling it to students? Is it a marketplace where one student makes a study guide and sells it to the others? Education, terrible place to do startups typically, because eventually your customers graduate and then you lose them. So just keep that in mind. But you are onto something. Chrome extensions are a stealthy, interesting market. They have the potential to be viral. They have a massive user base, and almost everybody is focused on apps, in the App Store, as opposed to Chrome extensions. There was a company called Honey that got sold for billions of dollars that did like comparison shopping and coupons. They were mocked and made fun of, and it sold for $2 or $3 billion in but 5 or 6 years. So you're onto something. Are you a developer?
Yes.
Do you write Chrome extensions?
Yes.
You're incredibly valuable in the world. So,
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much. Great job being the first one.
and, like, just for that little thing, by the way, just like being able to code a Chrome extension, which is that simple, like you're actually made yourself valuable. Well done. But now find a better market that doesn't disappear after 2 years and that has more money. So same technology, same insights. Who has more money, and who can you keep as a subscriber for more than 2 or 3 years? Who can you keep for 10 or 20 years as a customer? Those are the 2 things I want to be set in your brain. Well done.
So for those that are new to the class, after the first pitch, we do want a big clap. It's a Techstars thing that we adopted. So if you watch me, it's like, now actually do it throughout. Now everyone do it. All right.
Ooh.
It's very good.
Hello everyone, my name is Harshit Sadhu and I'm the founder of DormDash, an all-in-one renting and trading application for university students. So now let me tell you a little bit about my day. So I woke up and I realized that today is going to be the biggest day of my life. I looked into the mirror and I looked into my eyes and I said, Harshit, today's the day you become a real man. So after I decided to get ready, I found my amazing blazer in the closet, found an amazing shirt, found a decent pair of jeans, and finally I looked at the bottom of my feet, realized all I have is Crocs. So it's either Crocs or barefoot to a startup pitch. So this is where I realized, what if there was an application where I can open up an application, see what's available in the area for me to rent out, instead of having to find it. So let me check my application right now to see if any items exist. Looks like there's a Shrayon cut on Capital Factory with dress shoes. Is that right? Let's go. So, with DormDash, students are now able to rent out items that they don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on for only one-use items. Furthermore, for university students, this is a great way to make passive income. For example, these Crocs, I'm not going to wear them ever again after what I did here. So I can now make money on this by listing it out on the application. Now, with over 25 users in 3 different universities, we found that DormDash is an amazing product for students to get in the online selling marketplace. With DormDash, not only can students make money, but now they can also connect with different people. And for anyone that needs Crocs, they're now available on dormdash.com. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I was a little late on that. That was great. Great job, great energy, funny, kept us engaged. The story could be a little better connected to the actual product part of it. But biggest thing like for the next step, kind of like the last one, is okay. Like I get what it does. Like, why is this a really big opportunity? Like, what else has been successful like this? And why is it like maybe like wow, this other sharing, trading clothes swapping or renting app has been super successful, and it's going to work so much better in a college environment because of the dynamics of everybody being so close and not having to do shipping and blah 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 blah. Maybe that's why it's going to work better. But some kind of thing about why that's a big opportunity and how big that market is.
You have a future in comedy because you thought this outfit looked great. I'm kidding. You really have tapped into something that is real in the world. What's real in the world is young people really actually care about the environmental footprint of clothes. Okay, but that wasn't in your pitch, but that is a dynamic. And as I said to our previous speaker, Kelchi, I was telling him, like, maybe get somebody who could, when you graduate college, you stop making study guides, so you kind of lose the customer. In your case, it's the opposite. When you go out to the real world, you might actually need your product more, because nobody gives a shit how you look. If you were at Crocs, I didn't think it was a problem, but if you were going for a job interview, it would be a very acute problem. And so there are definitely some trends there. Now, you do have to think about the business model. And so what the next thing you'll be confronted with is something called unit economics. Have you heard of this term before?
I'm not.
Okay, so unit economics is basically, walk me through this transaction. Your friend rented you those shoes. Okay, these shoes cost $200. They're nice shoes. They put them on the marketplace for $5 or $10 rental a day. And all I have to do is pick them up and return them within 3 days. I get them $10 for 3 days. This person rents the shoes, 10 times. They're half price, and he just polishes them and they're fine. Putting all that aside, you would then explain, we get to take 20% of any transaction in the marketplace. We need to have 1,000 people transact a day. We need to make $2 off of that, or $3 off of that. And we get to 3,000 people and $3, we're going to get to this many millions of dollars a year, or break $1 million in revenue. And then people can start to believe in the vertical you're in, which is called a marketplace. Tell me the 3 most successful marketplaces you can think of in startup land. Tell me the 3.
Technology.
Marketplaces. Have you heard the term before for startups? Marketplaces?
Is it like rideshare, online selling?
Rideshare is one, sure.
I guess.
That's a marketplace. You have buyers and sellers. People need a ride. People provide rides. Give me another marketplace that you can name.
I guess like online selling.
Online selling? Yes. Etsy.
Yeah.
eBay. Facebook Marketplace. It's literally called Facebook Marketplace, I believe. Thumbtack is a marketplace. So there are many marketplaces out there. Airbnb is a marketplace. Whenever you're providing supply and demand, and then taking a commission, a percentage of the transaction, you're in a marketplace business. It's one of the elite business models in the world. You've stumbled upon it. It's worth you learning more about marketplace dynamics. Marketplace dynamics are very unique. Some people believe it's all about supply. How many guys with ugly shoes can you get on this marketplace? Or customers. Customers with ugly shoes, people with good-looking shoes, sorry. And some people believe if you have enough demand, the supply shows up. Other people think you need to have great supply in order to get the demand and create the experiences. It is an entire genre of startup, very, very, very powerful. Once they get going, they're what's called asset light. And there are some that are asset heavy, but generally the way they're designed is to be asset light. What do you think that means, asset light marketplace?
Trading with assets? Like you build assets as the marketplace grows?
Hey, pretty good. The person running the marketplace doesn't own the assets. It's asset light. If you own the shoes and you rented shoes, you would be like a shoe rental place. That'd be a shitty business to be in because you'd have to inventory the shoes, you'd have to keep them somewhere, you'd have to maintain them. The reason Uber and Airbnb have become such powerful businesses is they don't own cars and they don't own hotels. The #1 hotel in the world, Hotel Brand, does not own any hotels, Airbnb. The #1 car company in the world, providing rides, does not own any cars, Uber. So just let that sink in.
Both asset light.
Both of them are asset. DoorDash is feeding more people than anybody. They have no inventory. all the inventory risk, all the expense, all that maintenance is abstracted to the restaurants. So you've stumbled into a diamond mine.
All right, we gotta keep these moving. Great job, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Great feedback. This is awesome stuff. I hope you guys were enjoying it. So more details than I normally give. Really great. All right, Anita.
I'm Anita, and I'm building Longhorn AI, the restaurant phone assistant with AI. So answering the phones is a huge pain point for restaurants. How many of you was restaurant your first job? It was mine. And for staff, it takes them away from this huge carousel of tasks that they have to manage. And for restaurant owners, it means missed revenue from missed orders and reservations. It also means a huge pain point in actually staffing them, because with a constantly churning workplace, they have to retrain the person who answers the phone. And this problem is really deep and wide. There's about 1 million restaurants in the United States, and it's a $1 trillion industry. But about 30% of ticket sales actually still come from the phone, and this problem is felt deeply there. So the solution that I built is Loman.
You're doing great.
Thank you. Loman is a fully autonomous AI agent, and it answers 100% of calls. It also integrates directly with their point of sale system, so any orders that come in is pushed directly to the kitchen. And we started in April, we launched, and now we're doing about $150,000 annual run rate, and we have 40 live locations. I am raising an angel round right now, so if anyone has any advice or any resources, I would love to see it. And thank you.
Wow. Oh, go for it. Were you making up the numbers for the traction?
Absolutely not.
You have 150,000 in ARR.
That's correct.
And how many restaurants are using this?
40.
40 restaurants. How did you acquire the restaurants?
So I have 3 other co-founders. One of them is a salesman for 10 years. He sold the first 20, and now we're running UGC ads that are doing really well with low CAC.
He's a sales executive. We don't say salesman anymore. It's gender specific. I'm joking.
So sorry.
I'm joking. You will not be answered. This is Texas, man. I have been called honey and ma'am and sir. I mean, like 1,000 times a day. Sweetie, it's incredible. I love it. This is a great idea, and you have traction, and you have multiple co-founders. What is your skill, Anita?
I'm an engineer, but I majored in data science, so I'm also doing the product analysis.
You have value in the world.
You.
You have skills that could be used by companies to provide value to other humans. This is extraordinary. And you've proven it. Tell me about the 3 other co-founders. One's a sales dude.
And the other 2 are engineers.
Got it. So 3 technical people and a sales bro.
I think you're checking the boxes.
You just checked all the boxes. You have some customers. So, and you've raised $0.
I believe we have raised around 70,000 from friends and family.
Oh,
We're
friends and
raising a small round right now to get us through
Okay.
the next couple months.
Got it. And you're still in school.
Yeah, yes, I'm a senior.
When do you graduate? You're senior. So you graduate at the end of the year.
This year, yes. I'm so excited.
But you decided to build a company starting last year, I guess?
It was April of this year. But yes, I actually.
In 6 months, you got 150K in ARR.
I love my team.
Yeah.
But
Well, no, you're in charge. You're the CEO. So you created this idea. Who created this thing?
We did it together, but the person who does the selling is the CEO.
Okay.
But yes, I did actually work at Hitch, if you guys know that, for my freshman and sophomore
And
year.
another.
So it was a
Awesome.
helpful experience.
This is amazing. That's Maddie. She works for me. So afterwards, talk to her, and then she has a couple of bricks of cash. So just tell her what you need.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right,
You're welcome.
talk to Maddie.
That was awesome.
Great job. Clap.
What is happening? This is great.
All right.
Hello, everyone. My
Krish.
name is Krish Prabhu, and I want to tell you guys a little story. So I was working in a job, and for that job, I had to find a drone for this company, and I would be piloting it for some aerial photography. The biggest problem was I had to do a lot of research for that drone, and I stumbled across 2 main companies, DJI and Parrot. Parrot is an American company that creates a lot of commercial and industrial drones, and they're equipped with lots of technology, but they're also really expensive. And the second company was DJI, and they're a Chinese company that creates a lot of photography drones, just like this one. And they're much more affordable and reliable. They're very easy to use, and they have a lot of scale. They also have 70% of the market share in the drone industry. But my project was actually a government job. And as I looked more into it, I realized the American government actually has a blacklist on DJI. The more I looked into it, I found out that DJI drones had been shown in surveillance on Uyghur internment camps, and DJI drones that were used in Ukraine by our Ukrainian allies were then notified, or Ukrainian teams were then, their positions were shown to the Russian forces, and that's how the artillery strikes took out many of the Ukrainian drone teams because they were using DJI drones, and DJI was sending that information to the Russians. So this blacklist was very warranted, but there was no other product that did what DJI did and had the same economical and reliability that DJI has. Hence, the drone that I purchased for the company. And I didn't have any other choice because there simply wasn't a product available that fulfilled those purposes that I was looking for. And so I decided to found a company that creates drones just like this, just as good as these, but is an American company that fulfills the American values and is just as cheap and reliable. Additionally, I realized that the big problem with Parrot, which is also an American company, is it's packed with so many different technology and features that I just don't need. So I made my drones very modular, where you can add different components that you need. If you need LiDAR, put on LiDAR. If you want a kit that can drop bombs, you can put that on. And now we can send that to our allies in Ukraine for their use. Thank you.
So I know this problem really well. This is definitely like a really big problem. And so you spent a lot of time telling the story of the problem, and you could have just gotten through that much faster, just a couple of sentences. Like we got it. So like you had a good story for it, but we didn't really need the whole story to get it. Like you could just say like, hey, guess what? The U.S. government won't buy stuff drones from China. You know, like and it's kind of like it's enough that you can move on to the next part. And so what really left me wondering was, wow, how are you going to go compete with DJI? Like the claims are really good. Like if you can do that, like that's really compelling. But I know other people are trying to do that too. And so like, you know, I think to make this pitch a lot more exciting would be like say something about like what unique insight you have, or like why you're going to be able to go compete with DJI.
Of course. Yeah, it's just the government contracts that DJI just does not have access to is something we can tap into.
More than like why you can build it just as good, just as cheap, like all the other things. Like, to me, that sounds hard.
It was unclear what your business was, and what we understood the problem, but we didn't understand how your solution solves the problem. So a quicker way to do the pitch would be, hey, I'm Krish. I have studied the drone market, and what I learned was the #1 drone manufacturer, DJI, is under the control of the CCP, and they will help the Russians, for example, figure out how Ukraine is using, they'll basically give the locations of Ukrainian forces to the Russians, and they cannot sell to the US government for obvious reasons. So I'm building a drone company, and my drone company is going to be different than the very expensive ones from Parrot, the #1 maker in the US, and the compromised ones from DJI in China. Here's how they'll be different. Boom. So how is yours going to be different? Just in one sentence? Is it just that there's no spyware on it?
Well, the difference is ours is modular, so these have no modularity, nor do the Parrot drones, but ours have that modularity, so they can be used for a multitude of things.
So to Josh's point, if you spent maybe 2 or 3 minutes on like the whole setup, and like maybe 10 seconds on its modular. Our drones are modular. This allows you to customize the drone for the use case. For photography, we got you covered by the standard drone, but if you're using drones and you don't need a camera, you can get 50% more flying time out of it, et cetera, et cetera. If you're doing it for racing, you can do that. And there's a hobbyist community, and here's how we're going to reach that community. Boom. So just you kind of, instead of spending 80% of the problem, 20% of the solution, just flip it. 20%, here's the problem. 80%, here's the solution. Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brave. Brave to go into a hardware business. Hardware's very hard. Josh.
Hard versus hard, although easier now than ever.
That's true too.
All right, Ivy.
Hi everyone, I'm Ivy. I'm currently a junior with computational biology major, so hopefully building some valuable skills. During this hectic time, I'm also trying to take care of my health as well, so eating healthy, cooking healthy meals. So this one day, I really wanted to make this butter chicken dish with my friend just to spice it up a little bit. We had the chicken, we had the tomato. When we followed the recipe, we realized we're missing 8 out of the 10 spices in the dish. Cardamom, coriander. I'm not gonna go buy a whole new shelf just for food uses, and just thinking about having to work with 10 bottles is already hurting my head. And I was thinking, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way for me to cook what I want. So this is the solution that I came up with. Spiceable spice cards. So as you can see, this is inspired by medicine blister packaging. So all the different spices that you would need for the dish are all selected and sealed in the blister bubbles that are ready to be popped out into your pot. Also built a little MVP as well. So this contains the 12 different spices that you would need for the butter chicken meal. So cardamom, coriander, everything's in there. So I offered this to my friend again, and it was amazing. Let me tell you. First, it was convenient. All we have to do is just to follow the instructions on the back and pop every single thing out of the pot. Second, it was affordable. Instead of having to buy all the different spices and order a takeout maybe $20 every time if you crave a butter chicken dish, you can spend that money to buy quite a few of these cards, which can serve you up to 5 to 7 meals. Third, it tasted amazing with cultural authenticity. Different global mixes are developed by students, chefs from different ethnic backgrounds, making sure that you get to explore different global flavors with the least amount of hassle. So make home cooking easier, tastier, and healthier, one spice part at a time.
All right, I've seen you pitch a bunch of times before giving feedback, so I'll just.
So clever. I mean, everybody had the same reaction, which was like, oh, that's smart, that's brilliant. Does it exist in the world?
No,
No.
not at all.
Such a good idea.
It's like snackables.
Yeah, I mean, people love
Not quite.
convenience. People, young people, people living in smaller spaces like small appliances, and it just speaks to a lot of interesting themes all at once. What I like about it is it's also aspirational. Like, people want to be good cooks. People want to be organized. This is super organized. And there's a corollary for this. We have Blue Apron and a number of these companies that delivered stuff really take off for a while. They did capture people's imagination. They turned out not to be super sustainable. I think there was some economic realities to the cost of them acquiring customers. What I like about yours is those can be mailed as gifts. You could send somebody 20 of them with 20 different recipes, or they could buy a subscription to them. You could surprise them with some.
And another cool thing you can see in the store, that if you get that, you also need to buy all these other things.
Absolutely.
Right, like with the chicken, people pay for it, or something else.
Absolutely, could be literally near, you could have it near the steaks and the chicken by the butcher, and it would be like steak au poivre, béarnaise sauce, whatever. Chicken makhni, the butter chicken from northern India, I assume is the recipe you were going for? Butter chicken. Chicken makhni is really my favorite Indian dish. So it's genius. Venture people generally don't like this kind of stuff, but there are CPG investors, specifically consumer packaged good investors. One of them is Science, a friend of mine, and we just did an investment with them, Final Boss Sour. And we don't invest in the space, but because they did Liquid Death and some other cool products, Dollar Shave Club, we did this one with them as an experiment. So definitely meet Maddie and check in with her. We also have an investment in an influencer named Chef Reactions on TikTok, where he reacts to different people cooking, and he's building some products, and you should meet him. It's a very interesting concept you have. It's very creative. I don't know if this will succeed, but I'm convinced you will. So congratulations on creating stuff in the world that's incredibly unique. And I see everything, so I've never seen this idea. It's a very unique, wonderful, great idea. However your brain works, keep doing it. Whatever you're doing, I don't know if it's tea or other types of teas, I don't know how you came up with this idea, but keep at it. You're going to come up with, if this is a start of like good ideas for you, you're going to come up with some really good ones. Keep pulling the string. It's very unique.
Awesome. I agree too. Good job.
Did she say she had a worthless degree too? Something? Bio.
Computational bio. So.
Oh no, that's a great degree. It's the opposite of worthless. So now you have to decide: do I want to make spices or do computational biology? I love it. That's good optionality.
All right.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
One of my biggest fears is regretting not having spent enough time with my grandmother. She's getting old and she lives away, so I barely see her, and somehow I never find time to call her or send her a message. And then one day it hit me, I spent a couple of hours every single day on social media, just scrolling or losing my time, and I'm not the only one because the average American spends 3 hours a day on social media. So then I thought, great, I'm gonna use that time to reconnect with my grandmother. And that's what I did. First, I started by setting limits on my phone, but let's be honest, this never works. Then I put the do not disturb mode, but it doesn't work either because I take my phone out of habit. And then finally, my last solution was just deleting all the social media apps, so I did it. But the problem is that then you just lose contact with all the people that matter to you, like this cousin that you only see once a year, or this friend that studies abroad. But then everything changed when I discovered Toki. Toki is an app that centralizes all the message you receive from different platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, Messenger. It reunites and gathers everything in one single place. I downloaded the app and in less than 10 minutes, I had everything set up, and it completely changed my life. I've been using it for months, and I have all my messages in one single place, and most importantly, it allowed me to stop scrolling, so I got my freedom back, and I was able to reconnect with my grandmother, spending more time with her. We have been baking together, talking. She has been telling me about how the old days were, but that's not only about me. That's about all of us, because we live in a hyper-connected, but yet disconnected digital world where we're all dependent on our phones, losing the opportunity of spending amazing moments with the people that we care the most about. So please reclaim your freedom, download Toki, because at the end of the day, it's not about how much time we have, but about how we decide to spend it. Thank you. Just before, I just want to say this is a company that exists already. A friend of mine created the company. It's two engineers. I'm an exchange student, so it's two people from France. It's called Toki, and you can download it on your app. So I thought it would be a good idea for me to spread the word so that maybe in America people could start using the app.
Yeah, great way to practice your pitch.
Great. So the pitch is solid. You came up with a heartwarming story, but the heartwarming story and the value proposition are not perfectly aligned. So the story about not spending time with your grandmother, and then having a phone addiction, and then having a disparate amount of messages coming in different locations, it's almost like it's 3 different stories. It's a little bit disjointed. The truth is, unified inboxes have existed for a long time. People have been doing this with messaging and email and web messages. It's literally got a name, unified messaging. The problem is, it takes a little while to set these up. The people who you're getting DMs from, like TikTok, Facebook, Meta, Twitter, they keep making changes to their APIs. They don't want people doing this kind of stuff. So I do wonder if it's a niche product for a small group of people. But I did love your idea of spending more time with grandma and spending less time addicted to your phone. So I think when you find a problem like that, or an opportunity, vitamin, or a painkiller is how we say it in the business, some part of your idea is a painkiller. Oh my God, I've got messages in 5 different places. This is painful. This resolves that pain of having to open 10 different places and forget I have messages from one and I miss an important message. That would be the painkiller version. The version you explained was more the vitamin version, which is, I want to spend more time with my grandma before she dies. Because she's going to die, and it's sad. It's like, that's like taking a vitamin every day. If you forget to take your vitamin, you don't die, but you miss the opportunity. So I think you're a good presenter, you're authentic. I wonder about the product, if the world needs it or not, but people should try it and they'll make that own determination. I think they tend to be niche products, so. And most people who build those products, they spend so much time making the unified inbox that they realize they could have just built a competitor to Twitter or a competitor to Facebook or Instagram, and they just build that. And so you got to think like of the use of time. But well done. So wait, you said you're French?
So I'm from Andorra, between France and Spain.
I was about to say you sound like you're from Spain.
But I study in France.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and all your advice today.
Of course, my pleasure.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm Ronnie Weaver. I run a student entrepreneurship organization. We help students find jobs with student-founded startups. Now, we are broke. We are the definition of talent rich, but cash poor. I was talking with the president of the Aerospace Engineering Club about this, and he recommended I check out Seedlink. It's a Slack bot that recommends relevant jobs to your student organization's group chat. If anyone finds a job through that Slack bot's postings, then you as an organization make $200. I'm like, heck yeah. So I installed this Slack bot on our channel, and the next day, the first postings started to roll in. They were very relevant to what we do as an organization. They didn't seem scammy at all. By the end of the week, we had 2 members of the organization find jobs, and we had made $400. By the end of the semester, we had passively made enough money to pay for the entire cost of running the organization. Now, while this is an awesome story, it is just a story. But I am running a student entrepreneurship organization, and I am building out the Seedlink network. We started 1 month ago, and we have onboarded startup employers and student entrepreneurship organizations. We have 3 startups paying us $500 per hired head, and we have found 3 students jobs in a startup. Now, I came here today to ask for any connections to large groups of VC-backed startups. It's quite easy for us to onboard 1 startup at a time, but we're looking to provide our solution to an entire network. Once again, my name is Ronnie Weaver. This is Seedlink, and thank you very much.
Done. Yeah, great job. I've already seen before, so I'll let you go too.
I'm a little confused at what the product is. You're somehow going to build a piece of software that takes job opportunities and matches them with entrepreneurial developers, designers, UX, product managers. What kind of jobs are you filling, and then how does this marketplace work? Because it sounds like a market.
And who's your specific customer? Because you've got a special customer you're selling to.
Yeah, so ideally you can work with any student organization because we have a lot of group chats that have hundreds of members in them. So we partner
Group
with
chats like what do
Every
students use?
student org has like a little chat to organize.
What do you guys use to
use Slack or Discord mainly.
Got it. So this connects to Discord with a bunch of students who are in a club, and then it just pipes into that Discord or Slack jobs.
So there's a
So it's like marketing or affiliate marketing,
yes,
but it's content to the people who are receiving it.
yes.
And instead of just getting a cost per click, you're going to get a commission on connecting those 2 people.
Yes, and perhaps maybe a membership fee as well to be part of it, or maybe we pay those students to be this organization to be part of it. I haven't quite figured out that model yet.
It's interesting because what you're talking about is like a lot of repetitive work. So every startup or every, even medium-sized companies probably like, hey, I wonder if there's like people like UT who are smart. Like, how do we get access to them? Like, yeah, there's a student organization. We should just go through the front door and call the human resources. And it's like, yeah, that resulted in nothing. Like when I was a kid at Fordham, they had like a book of jobs, and like people would fax their jobs in, and then they would put a 3-hole punch, and you go there, and that job was filled, and that job was from last year. It was like super manual, and it was hard back then, and it's hard now because all these students are in different places. So if you can abstract all that work and say, we know the chess clubs, the athletics clubs, these clubs, those clubs. We can get you to them. Just tell us what you're looking for. And they say, well, we're Yelp and we need salespeople. And we found that people who are involved in athletics make great salespeople. That's a trope. It's a belief. It's a heuristic in our industry that for some reason attractive, fit, athletic people with discipline do better in sales. I don't know that it's true, but it's a belief. And so people hire them specifically for sales in Arizona for Yelp. So you might not be limited to just 10 people from the computer club or the AI club. But yeah, if you can build that and abstract it and not tell them what you're doing, just tell them we have access to all these clubs. We're going to get you qualified candidates. It's $500 a month plus $500 for each person we get. And if you pay for the year, it's $5,000. You can have a decent business. It's a decent idea.
Yeah, I think you did great. You did a great job telling the story, like, to the club owners, like the people you know the best, the student organizers, and like they would get the like, oh wow, I make $200, like $400 a month, like that's great, because for them that, like you said, might pay for their whole budget. Telling a little bit more of the story to the advertiser, to the job searcher, and like maybe really connecting a story around some company realizing that wow, like they want people in the chess club. And you know, you guys have a network of all the chess clubs across all this, and then wow, it's not just a chess club. This other group, they really want athletes, and this other group, they really want these, and realizing that that's a really powerful form of targeted marketing. That's, you know, it's really powerful. So,
But nobody's going to have jobs in the future, so that's a little bit of a problem.
yeah, this is the other problem.
You may not have taken that into account, Trinity.
Yeah.
But,
One problem at a time. All right, good job. Thanks. All right, you guys are doing great.
I like this idea a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea of not telling people how you do it, just saying like, oh yeah, you know, we have 170 chess clubs, 300 volleyball,
It's
soccer clubs, and we'll send your job to those.
I think the student orgs would be highly motivated by that too. They're dying.
Yeah. Oh, are they? Yeah. They would love to get
Like
$500
maybe like
a month
stupid
for beer.
fundraisers. Yeah, you know. All right, come on.
Hi, my name is Kevin.
Comment. Sorry.
No worries. Let me tell you about Allison. Allison is one of my friends who's really efficient and reliable. She's one of those people who's always on top of her things. But lately, she's been taking a toll due to her job. She works in the customer service industry, and if you know anything about customer service, is that customer service email inboxes can get really chaotic. And more than that, is that customer service queries can be the same things over and over again. Things like, when will my return order be processed? Or how can I track my order? Can be so common that even people like Allison, who love to help other people and provide the best customer experiences, can find it really frustrating. So she decided to look into more tools and productivity tips, and she stumbled upon a tool called Whoosh. Whoosh is an AI-powered tool that helps Allison by using her past email responses to create new replies to customers by providing them personalized and tailored responses. And because it uses her past emails, it will use her same writing style and tone. And that way, we can at least humanize the AI and use and perform less work by using those past email responses. In this way, Allison can simply click on a button and get an email reply in seconds, tweak it, and then send it off and move on to more important things that really matter the most for providing the best customer service at her company. Thank you.
Well done. You've picked an incredibly crowded space where there are hundreds of incredibly well-funded competitors building exactly what you're talking about. Are you aware of that?
I was looking at a few, and I thought there were competitors.
So sometimes this happens as an entrepreneur. You identify something, at the same time, everybody else identifies it. When people saw ChatGPT, they originally were like, oh, it's good at guessing the next word. And Gmail put it in about 5 years ago, their own version of machine language, which was it would guess the next 2 words and say, hit tab.
Right.
Then it guessed a sentence, then it guessed 2 sentences, and here we are. It's built into Superhuman, it's built into Gmail, it's being built into every sales product, and there are people who are building it inside of things like Zendesk, which have years, 10 years of customer support tickets in them.
Right.
It's being built into Salesforce. So my fear is you have jumped in front of a train that's going very fast,
Right.
and it's going to smash you, and you're going to be blown to bits. So in a case like this, what you want to do is get out of the way of the train. That's step one. So
Don't
you
die.
don't die. Don't get smashed by the train. But once you realize, okay, this idea was important but obvious, now you can say, I'm going to skate to where the puck is going.
Right.
So if we know that automated email replies are coming,
Yeah.
and they're almost here and people are experiencing it, well, what's the next thing that would happen? This requires a real deep understanding of who you're selling to. Are we selling to the customer support group at a company? Are we selling to the sales team and the SDRs who are working leads? You know, the customer support people are supporting existing customers. Who are we going to sell it to? General people who are just writing emails?
Right.
Should it exist as a keyboard and text? So the same idea. You know, you're gonna have to think, well, what now? What next? If this is successful, what would happen next?
Okay.
So let's just do this exercise, you and me.
Sure.
You were thinking of this for customer support or sales or both?
Both.
Okay. So let's take a sales executive. They get some emails into their email box of people who are interested. It formats a lead, and then it presents it to them, and they just read it and then hit the send button, maybe make little tweaks, is what you're
Right.
envisioning.
Right.
Okay, let's assume everybody else builds that. They hit the send button. What happens next?
So, I mean, a customer will look at that reply, right? And then if they have more queries, they may follow up. And that follow-up part is also very crucial because now you need to account for everything that happened so far. Right.
So then an actual real human-to-human conversation might occur on a phone call and a Zoom.
Right, yeah.
So that's what I would think of is what happens next, or maybe the overall strategy of how this works. Maybe looking across, maybe a better idea would be to look across 100 salespeople and what they're doing, and which ones are getting the highest hit rate. And then maybe your business is working on language that gets the highest hit rate, not just sending these, but maybe doing some analysis of all of the AI generated responses, studying which ones actually get opened,
Yeah.
which ones get the most replies, and ultimately which ones get the most sales.
Right.
Because that would seem to be the next thing you would want to do.
Perfect.
So it's just but one example
Yeah.
of what you could, when you pull the string and say, what now, what now, what next, what happens next. You keep in the movie, the plot keeps evolving, right?
Yeah.
You get to the next episode of the show, you know, on Netflix, the next episode.
Right.
Start thinking that way. You identified something, it's a crowded space. There's too many people on 6th Street. If there's too many stores on 6th Street, what happens next?
You go to a different street.
5th and 7th.
Yeah.
Then the East Austin area, right?
Right.
So you can just start thinking, well, what happens if East Austin becomes crowded and expensive? East Austin, or Northeast Austin, or Southeast Austin,
Right.
or Hill Country? You kind of just start thinking through it. Sometimes it's expensive, sometimes it's going deeper. So allow yourself to look for other adjacent areas and problems.
Sure. Would like AI agents be something that you could look at? for
AI
businesses?
agents?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people working on this concept. I think it's a really interesting place to go. I interviewed the CEO of Waymo recently at the All in 7, and she was talking about creating the world's greatest driver.
Right.
And the VTOL companies like Joby are creating the world's greatest pilot. So they're trying to make an agent who is the world's greatest X.
Yeah.
One of them, to take all the jobs of all the pilots in the world, you know,
Right.
and make it perfect. And like we have a company that's doing it for coffee. It's called Cafe X. They're going to be
Wow.
the single best AI barista. Never makes a mistake, makes your coffee perfectly, right?
Yeah.
So you should start thinking along those lines about these AI agents.
We're gonna keep these moving. Thanks.
Good job.
All right.
Reborn.
We got a whole other slide, dude.
Oh, I was giving them time as if they were.
Yeah, I was gonna give a warning after this one. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
we'll go fast.
We'll go a little faster on the feedback, but that's okay. I'll get back people in the comments at the end of this one.
Imagine 1 minute you're living your normal life, and next you collapse. It's
sudden blood clot stops all oxygen to your brain. Every minute, 2 million brain cells die as you get rushed to the hospital. Neurologists race against time to inject clot-reducing medicine into your brain, helplessly waiting until the clot goes away. But unfortunately, we lose this race in 13,000 cases every day across the world. My name is Philip Beck, and my team at NeuroFlow developed a revolutionary microbubble therapy that helps neurologists win this race against time. Our focused microbubbles uses ultrasounds to quickly expand the blood vessel and melt the blood clot at the same time, which is 3 times faster than traditional methods while being completely non-invasive. With $700 billion used for stroke care costs worldwide, we're geared to make partnerships with already 6,000 stroke centers across the U.S. We have key research partnerships with the Johns Hopkins Medical School and the NYU Medical School, as well as, and we're currently preparing for preclinical trials. So help us give neurologists the gift of time so they can give stroke patients the gift of life. Thank you.
All right. Let me do the feedback on this one. We'll alternate. So I definitely get why this is really important. Maybe practicing the pitch will help just with the flow of it, because like I was getting a little lost in the words, and so I think it's easy to understand why this is important and why it's going to help save lives. So more on how many of these happen per year, what the what the cost to insurance is when it happens, or other things that would really help talk with the business model would help, and then where these types of life sciences things can take a really long time to happen. Investors are going to really want to know, like, where is this at in the process? Is this something that has already been approved? Is it about to go through approval? That's going to be something really important to investors too. So good job.
Well done. Thank you for saving lives,
Yeah.
providing value in the world.
Hello everyone, my name is Longhorn Garcia and I'll be presenting Lab 8. So just by a show of hands, how many of you watch sports? Great. Now, how many of you talk about sports with us? Perfect. So I'm a big sports fan, and one of the things I like is talking to people as I'm watching the games. But I don't really have a place where I can do that. I chat with my friends, but that just does. It's just our group. So I thought, okay, what can I do? Well, of course, I just joined a Discord group for sports, right? Well, what I came to realize is that these conversations were mostly about sports in general. There wasn't much focus on a specific event or consistent activity in the chat. It wasn't the live, in-the-moment, active interaction that I was looking for. So instead, I just decided to keep chatting with my friends. Then, one Sunday, I was watching an NFL game and chatting with my friends about it, when all of a sudden, one of them sent a link from this app called Like. So I went ahead and I opened the link, and I was directed to this live chat room that was specifically dedicated to the game I was watching. Now, I was chatting with a bunch of people who were watching the same game as me, and we were talking about it as it was happening in real time. All my friends joined in, and we were all discussing the plays, crashing the other team, discussing the calls. It was a really cool experience. And so now, instead of just going and chatting in different places, I can just go look for the chat that's based on the game I'm watching and have an active and engaging experience as I'm watching them. My name is Longhorn Garcia, and this is Lab 8. Thank you.
All yours.
So you described me exactly. I have a Discord I'm part of for the Knicks. I have a group chat I'm part of for the Knicks. I have a DM group chat on Twitter about the Knicks. And then I have public Twitter, X, that I talk about the Knicks on. And so there is definitely something here. What you didn't mention was how this makes money. Everybody's going to believe that there's something there in terms of people do like to talk about sports and their sports talk. A lot of this has moved over to YouTube chat, as you probably know, and Discord. So I'm a fan of something called Knicks Fan TV. It's a YouTube channel with 100,000 members or so. And we all chat about the Knicks. There's a Knicks game tonight versus the 76ers. And when I get home, I'll watch the second half of the game, and then I'll watch all my friends talk about it on Knicks Fan TV. So there is definitely something here. And I think you just have to start thinking about how is it going to make money. Subscriptions, advertising, sponsorship, those would be the typical answers, but there is definitely something here. I do like the fact that you're thinking about any live event. So one way to think about this on an SEO basis, search engine optimization basis, is to maybe start with sports, but then like there's TV shows that occur every week, like Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, that are appointment watching, and there's all kinds of communities. So I would study Reddit. What Reddit did was they were just simple and slow. Simple and slow. They created a super simple interface. They didn't change that interface much at all in the last 20 years. They've been around for almost 20 years. Next year will be 20 years for Reddit. And they just remained incredibly focused on catering to the mods. So it turned out in the message board space, there was no problem finding people to talk about stuff, but there was a challenge of finding moderators who would keep the discussion on track and not have it devolve into people calling each other Hitler and spamming each other with bullshit. And so if you can do those two things and figure out who's going to be the mod and what is their motivation. And the mod's motivation typically is passion, and there's a little bit of power tripping on the margins. Like, you know, this is our Knicks community, we're here for these reasons. And we don't allow a person, like, so the Knicks community I'm part of doesn't allow, it's a family show, you're not allowed to curse. Okay, that's their culture, whatever. So there's something here. I would study the shit out of what's happening on Discord, and I would study what's happening on Reddit, and then start thinking about the moderator. It's a really good idea.
Good job. I got the question at the beginning. You know, a lot of people like to start with a question. It's a good way to at least get people's attention and get them engaged. Who likes sports is kind of like, it's a little too broad for me. And so just maybe like as a different example that I think would be way more engaging here, if you had said, hey, who was watching the football game this weekend? Who was watching the UT game this weekend? Okay, that in this audience, like, that's something, it's different than saying who likes sports. Like, that's something people are going to respond to. And like, oh, we're going to say yes, right? And so then be like, awesome. They do, you know, who did you talk to about it after? You know, or like something like that. Like, you could just make it a little bit more personal, and it would be a lot more.
Any sports fans in the audience? Great. Anybody have a team where they watch more than where they watch? I'll do it. Anybody here like sports? Raise your hand if you like sports. Everybody? Okay, great. Everybody likes sports. Anybody here like really passionate about a single team and you watch most of their games? Raise your hand if you watch most of their games. Right, about half the audience is super passionate. Anybody have a team? What team are you into? You said you raise your hand. What team? Who? Texans? Somebody? Who? Miami Heat. Fuck Pat Riley. But anyways, yeah, I got some.
You tell you've done this before, right? Yeah. All right. Good job. Thank you.
Good job. Good job. It's a great pitching technique is to engage the audience.
But it's got to be real, so you got to make it a little more authentic, right? Yeah. All right, 2 more from the Longhorn Startup students, and then we're going to jump in. We got a few more, but we'll come up with the plan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonah Gleitman. A couple months ago, I was stuck in that cycle. I wake up in the morning with big ideas, decide to scroll X for only 5 minutes, and suddenly the day would just be wasted away. My phone became a graveyard of abandoned productivity apps, sending me notifications that I just brush away instantly. Then I found agency. It wasn't your usual onboarding. It didn't ask me those usual things about pick 3 goals that I want to achieve. It asked me about my dreams, fears, responsibilities, and things that were holding me back. Then the next morning, I wake up at 6 a.m. to a text in all caps saying, "Get your ass out of bed now, and text me in 1 minute or I'm gonna call you." And I didn't expect to actually receive a phone call, but my phone was ringing and I answered. And this stern voice is barking at me like, "Are you sure you're awake? You don't sound vertical. Get up now." I'm like, "Just 5 more minutes, please." And it's like, "You said you wanted to start a podcast. Podcasts don't start from under the covers. Get up now." So I got up and it said, go get in the shower and eat breakfast within 30 minutes. Later that day, it caught me watching YouTube. I get a text that says, what the hell are you doing? Your friend David already went to Orange Theory today. You're here watching YouTube. And I realized at that point why I asked for access to my contacts when I downloaded the app. But it wasn't all just tough love. I also, whenever I ended up recording that first podcast episode, it also told me like, nice job. That's what I like to see. And ever since I downloaded Agency, people have asked me how I ended up changing. I ended up going to the gym, starting that podcast, and I just tell them I found Agency.
Well done. It's a great name for a product. Oh, clap. Grade 2. Great name for a product, Agency. It's an app or it's a text messaging gateway?
You download an app and you answer some questions, and then it's going to text and call you.
So we're seeing a reoccurring theme, which is people are addicted to phones. And we had another one of these, people were addicted to food, right? And there was obesity. I wonder if there's going to be an Ozempic for this digital addiction. Somebody might crack the code on massively getting a large number of people to lose weight. It's kind of like interesting that so many entrepreneurs are experiencing this, and a lot of young people are experiencing scrolling addiction, etc. It's being built into Apple's products. Yours is like a coach, which is trying to get you to do more positive things in the world and hold you accountable, correct?
Yeah, or you could think of it as a drill sergeant.
Perfect. So there's something there, and this is all done with AI, I assume. It's not an actual drill sergeant.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Because there is the possibility of going after the high end and actually having a life coach who, you subscribe for $100 a month and $500 a month, and have an actual life coach try to motivate people and talk to them every day and see if they can get outcomes for them. So I think there's something there. And
what's the status of this? Is it built? Is it real? Is it? This is the vision. Vision. Okay, cool.
So you have something. I think figuring out who the customers are, and then who needs tough love, who needs a gentle touch, whatever. I know what I like about it is it's not like trying to do psychotherapy on people. You're just trying to get people to, you're trying to hold people accountable and let them know they're not victims and they can become good at something. A lot of people are actually using AI for this as coaches. I've seen a lot of people telling their AI, you're my coach, these are my goals. Every time I talk to you, please try to push me towards my goals and give me ideas, and I'm going to just give you random thoughts from time to time. And because they have memory, like ChatGPT has memory now, and Claude has memory, and they'll memory bank stuff for you, it'll remember that you said you wanted to do a podcast, et cetera, to hold me accountable. So there is definitely something here, and I encourage you to build a prototype in a narrow vertical. So if the narrow vertical was, content creation, which you went after, which a lot of people do, I want to create something every day that's creative. We have a lot of people pitching us on journaling products recently, like startup that kind of teaches this startup philosophy, and just see if you can connect with an audience that won't shut up about your product.
Awesome. Good job. Thank you.
Well done.
All right.
Hey everyone, to start off with, I just want to kind of get a poll. How many of you guys have used social media 4 to 5 times in the last week? Most of you guys. And now, if I ask you to create an Instagram post, how many of you guys will be able to do it within the next 5 minutes? Again, most of you guys. The truth is that our generation has an advantage almost no other generation has. We grew up around social media, so we know the ins and outs of it. Hi. My name is Priyank Jain, and I'm a co-founder of Digimax, a company that leverages this superpower to help grow the local businesses in Barrington. Let me introduce you to Dr. Dave, a chiropractor that has his own business in Barrington, ChiroFit. In October of 2022, his business fell on hard times when a doctor left and took his customers with him. In addition to financial hardships, he wasn't able to pour a lot of money into an elaborate marketing campaign to grow his company, to grow his business. Because of that, he approached Digimax, a marketing video production agency that serves local businesses in Barrington. Using our knowledge of the local community and our personal networks, a place where we grew up in, we were able to develop a comprehensive marketing campaign for him and create original video content to push out on his social media platforms and his website in just a week. Within a couple weeks of pushing this content out, he had neighbors and community members come up to him and start talking about the content. And within 1 to 2 months, he saw an over 100% increase in impressions on all of his posts. Just by leveraging our knowledge of this community, a place where we grew up in, we were able to give him a low cost and high quality campaign, something that very little other marketing agencies are able to do. With over 10 plus clients and $12,000 in revenue in the past 2 years, we believe that this model is both proven and expandable. By working with groups of people in local communities all around the nation, we can leverage their personal networks and their knowledge of their communities with our services and help thousands of people just like Dr. Dave who use their business to sustain their family's livelihood. Now, as always, thank you for listening, and remember to maximize your digital potential with Digimax. Thank you.
Awesome. So I think my biggest piece of feedback, I'm going to keep them a little bit shorter now as we're just trying to get through as many as we can, is just that you've clearly got something that you've got working at a smaller scale. I don't think you're at the point now of like expanding nationally to lots of communities. You're still at the point of like dominating this community. And so I think I would focus more there. I think at the kind of the revenue and the numbers you're at, you've got a lot of room to grow in just your, continuing to leverage your strengths in your local community.
And an agency business like that is generally not a venture scale business, but it will print money for the principals, the owners of it.
Right.
So if you want to make $1 million a year in profits, like do an agency business, but you have to have customers and employees, and your entire life is customers asking you to lower your fees and your employees asking you to pay them more. And you live between those two numbers. What you're willing to, what you can charge for your employees' time and what they're willing to pay, and then everybody tries to squeeze you. So it is a quick way to get a lot of revenue, and it's a quick way to become very frustrated because everybody is grinding you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of times I see agencies then go create a product.
I do see that too. It's a hard transition for some people.
Yeah.
Everyone, at the beginning of today's session, Jason basically said that if you don't do a startup, you're going to end up homeless. And I agree with that. And I'm going to give you a reason why that's going to happen. And that is back office work. Currently, back office work is on the brink of extinction. And the reason why is that I've been surrounded by people who've been doing back office work. In fact, I come from a family where my parents have done back office work. My dad's a CPA, and my mom is an analyst at a jewelry manufacturing company. And I love them as much as I do, but every time they come back home, it really is just the same thing over and over again. They're just doing the same work that's very manual and very tedious. And therefore, I'm going to retire my parents. And this problem doesn't just pertain to my parents. For smaller boutique firms and middle market firms, they have entire teams dedicated to solving this issue. And currently, they have their company documents on internal databases or on the cloud. And it costs them precious money to, one, store the documents, and two, process these documents by paying the team to do that. And I'm Will. I'm a computer science and business major at UT Austin, and I am working with 2 other technical co-founders to essentially make your documents work for you. And we're breaking into the intelligent document processing space, and we're doing this at a ridiculously low cost. First of all, we have already built an in-house OCR platform. What that means is that OCR is optical character recognition. So imagine you have a PDF that maybe it's just a picture of an invoice. Now you can't really extract text from that, but with our AI platform, we can give you pure structured text data to accomplish that. On top of that, we have something called form as a prompt. You guys know text as a prompt, image as a prompt, but we're making something called form as a prompt. And what that means is that imagine that you can have swarms of AI agents fill out forms with you based on your company's internal database. On top of that, we also have smart semantic search.
Now imagine you can just go into this platform and query. Maybe you're a construction worker and you want to ask, give me the top 10 invoices that I need to renovate this guy's house. And all of this while we're also doing secure granular sharing. If you ever want to share company documents securely with other platforms or other third parties, we do that for you. We encrypt your data in transit and at rest. And once again, we're doing this at a ridiculously low cost. Once again, I'm Will, and I am making your documents work for you. And I'm also retiring my parents. Thank you. It's technically it's
It can be TBD.
Right, it's to be decided.
TBD?
Yeah, we're pivoting from our current solution right now.
I mean, the promise of AI, I think the most interesting part of your pitch is not the OCR part, but the forms as a service and being able to take forms that exist in legacy systems and translate those into an AI agent that asks you the questions either on the phone, in a chat room. I think that's enough to be a pretty big business or a good start. We're starting to see these knowledge databases everywhere. So we use Coda, we use Notion as an example, where you can just they have forms built into them. You used to have to use Google Forms or SurveyMonkey or Typeform, and now it's kind of like forms, and this communication is going to be built into other products. So there's something there. I would keep pulling the string on it. You might want to find an ideal customer profile, a specific vertical where there's a lot of money and a lot at stake and a lot of transactions. So when you're thinking about where to apply a technology, you can do how much is at stake and then how frequently people do it. People get married once or twice or 3 times in a lifetime. There's a lot at stake, but it happens infrequently. People buy cars 5 times in a lifetime. There's a lot at stake. It happens somewhat infrequently. People pick a college, a lot at stake. They do it once or twice in a lifetime. And then there's like people order food every day on DoorDash, Uber Eats, and there's not a lot at stake. There's a medium amount at stake because they won't remember what they ate. So that's one of the things you'll have to do is like sort of build a matrix.
Right.
Like a dentist office, is there a lot at stake or not? I don't know. You'll find out. Insurance brokerage, where they have to take insurance claims, maybe there's a lot at stake there and it happens medium frequency. So you'll find out where people have the most waste, and business process outsourcing, like you've identified, is an amazing space to look at. And they're all evolving their businesses to be AI driven as we speak in Manila, India, and other locations.
Awesome. Good job. Thanks.
You're in a really good zone.
Thank you.
I love the LLM search of Notion. Like it took all of my mess Notion stuff and now I can just ask it questions instead of looking for things. It's like awesome.
Do they still charge extra for it, or is the search?
Like double.
I don't understand what's going on. It's like every time I want to use, one of these AI, one of these products, they're like, let's
We'll charge you double.
let's double your pricing.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, come on, let's do it.
Oh, ouch.
Sorry, your shoes.
What is it? What does this guy do? He just took his shoes off. You doing kung fu?
It's cause like I was stage fright, like it grounds you,
All right, you look around. Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Clay. I'm an architecture major, and I'm going to be talking today about grit. I'm going to start this off with a story. The story of my good friend John and Sarah. Sitting next to each other on the couch, and they're scrolling through Pinterest, and they look at each other and they're like, man, these are beautiful. Let's go get a renovation done. So they go call the contractor. Shows up to their house the next day. Say, hey Joe, come on in. Joe comes in. Goes in, he takes a measurement, he talks with him for about 2 or 3 hours. They go to him at the end and they say, Joe, how much is this going to cost? Joe looks at him and says, 30, 50,000. John said, they're both accounts. That's a 40% margin. That's not good for them. And they look back at the contractor and they say, can you get into that? And can you at least show us what it looks like? Joe says no. He asks him for a card. They say no. He leaves. Now, John and Sarah are frustrated because they kind of wasted their time on Joe. But Joe, he's really frustrated. This is the 10th call Joe's made this week. Now, there are 850,000 John and Sarah's actually closing a deal every single week. That's $45 million a year. Now, okay, I want these 2 front rows to start snapping right now. All of you. All right, that's how many times Joe walks into a house with each one of these closed deals. Now, the whole room is snapped. All of you. That's how many times Joe feels called to get one of these deals closed. Now, the problem is that these are clients who are suffering from lack of information. So we built Rescue, a platform where users can visualize and then generate line-by-line cost estimates for these projects. These are informed customers that we can then connect with contractors. Contractors who don't have to sift through all of these unknowledgeable customers. Homeowners are happy because they know exactly what they want, how much it's going to cost. So yeah, check us out. It's resga.design. The 4 people in here that look like you own a home, try it out. For everybody else, go tell your parents. Resga. Thank you.
Well done.
Way too much story. Like, it was like all the story and then like a tiny little bit on the product and what it did. And honestly, like, and this is it's a theme across a bunch of the ones we saw today. And I know I've been harping on the story all semester, but the story still, it has to really hit the problem. It has to really be connected to what you're doing. Like in this case, like I got through that whole story and I'm kind of left going like, okay, like now that was a big lead into this other thing. So
I may not invest in your startup, but I'm definitely joining your cult.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You are like a force, and you're engaging, and you've got charisma and all that stuff. So good on that, like natural leadership, natural communication. You'll be great at sales. You'll be great at recruiting. You'll be great at convincing people in this marketplace to do stuff. What you're building is actually a tool that will make the marketplace work better.
Yes.
So yes. We have an expression in the world. My God, it just made me feel so good. I don't know if the startup's going to work, but I'm going to hire you. I don't know what for, but for something.
Just to pump me up.
We don't work for anybody. We start our own things.
I love it.
You know?
Perfect. So keep that energy. There is a concept called come for the tool, stay for the marketplace. And so if you built a tool that allows somebody to walk through, this is what a renovation of a bathroom, these are the questions you have to answer. We invested in a company that actually does this. It's called Thumbtack. And what Thumbtack's big innovation was, is when you said you needed a piano teacher, what they did was they recorded the phone calls of people who were piano teachers, and then they just thought about it as a decision tree. Over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I invested in this company. And they said, do you own a piano? Who is the piano lesson for you or somebody else? What's their age? Do they have experience? And then they would sell that lead to piano teachers, and they would sell it multiple times. So they would take a lead, sell it to 5 piano teachers. You would get 5 piano teachers who would say, you have 2 kids, I can come on a Saturday or Sunday, I have availability, and this is how much I charge, etc. So you're definitely onto something, and there's a lot at stake when it comes to home renovations, a lot of money. So I think you should keep working on the tool.
Awesome.
And build a marketplace. Well done.
All right, we're not quite done yet at all, but let me tell you what we're going to do. So it is 5:45, and we started it a little late, but we started around 4. And I invited Jason to be here from 4 to 6. And you guys have been awesome. This has been great, and Jason's been great, and been giving a ton of awesome feedback that I hope you've all really enjoyed and been listening to. However, I invited him kind of like at the not last minute, but I invited him last week. I was like, hey, come do this with me. It'd be really fun because I knew it'd be fun. But normally when it's just me, it goes a lot faster because like I'm like awesome, blah blah blah, next one, right? And so it's we're coming up on on time, and I know there's a whole bunch more people that have not gotten a pitch. And so on the one hand, I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to pitch. On the other hand, I want to be fair to Jason. I can't make him stay here all night. Like I told him 2 hours, and we're already almost there. So what I'm gonna ask is for Jason's gonna hold up a hand with a number on it, like a number of fingers, and we're gonna do that many more pitches right now with Jason, and like a handful more, and to get to wrap it up, and then we will pick a winner from that, just because I want to pick a winner tonight and everybody walk away with it. And at that point, I'm gonna let Jason go because I know he's got a family and other stuff to go do. I feel bad. I'll make him stay here all night. Because we probably could go for another 2 hours. However, I don't feel so bad about Nick. Nick's been here with me for a long time, and so Nick has offered already. He's already texted me. Nick's offered to stay. We are recording all of these pitches, and so if you do a pitch up here, it's going to get recorded, and we'll be able to watch it, and we're going to save them. And if you want to stay and do your pitch, we will save them, edit them all, and send them to Jason's team, and make sure that not only am I going to see them all, but that Jason will see them too. And and I understand you've all been sitting here for more than almost 2 hours now too. If you're not able to stay, I really want to see your pitch. Like I really do. Like, I mean, that's why we do this. And I'm watching all these and I'm taking notes and I'm looking at who we want to get to take the class next semester, or who we can connect you to, or who we can help with. And so I'd really like you to record your pitch if you don't do it here and send it to me. Like just record it on your phone or on YouTube and post it on YouTube or whatever, because I want to see it. And I bet we could send all those over to the launch team too. So I'm super sorry that it doesn't look that we're not gonna have time to get through every single.
How many more do you have?
You don't want it, like 20. Like we got through 11.
Literally 20?
Yeah, there were 30.
Well, we could also do it another week.
Well, and so I didn't want to make it volunteer or anything, but yeah, so
I'm happy to
you
do it another week too.
Come already, so like I didn't want to.
No, I like this.
Okay, so maybe we can do it another week. So with that note, since I didn't want to volunteer him, but since he did volunteer, maybe I would like to offer that we'll do. Why don't you hold up a number of hands? How many fingers? How many more are we gonna do? Oh, it just is all of them. Okay, 5 more. So we're gonna do 5 more. We'll pick a winner tonight, and then I would encourage you to stay and record your pitch or send it to me. What? We can do bio break. Jason, I'll talk through that. Jack, Drew, can you escort? And then so we'll do 5 more, and we'll award $1,000. And then anybody who wants to record their pitch tonight can. Anybody who wants to mail it to us can. And we will invite you all back to another night with Jason since he just volunteered. So awesome. We're gonna take if anybody else wants to take a 3-minute break. Where'd the puppy go? Thank you.
Oh, hey Jimmy.
Hey, one other quick thing. For students in the class, we're going to pop up attendance right now, just so you guys can grab that. Yeah, here, let's grab that. That attendance link is right. I think there might be a glitch with the date, but just know your attendance will be granted. So everyone in the class, only if you're in the class, please grab this QR code. If you're not in the class, please do not stand. Thank you, thank you.
All right, we have 5 more. Everyone take their seats. We are ready to go. And then someone is going to win $1,000. All right, I'll put $1,000 in cash.
Also, okay, quick announcement, guys. The email address to reach us is update@longhornstartup.com. Not updates, update, no S. And that will reach all of us.
I think updates might work too. Trust it. It's probably. All right, we're gonna do 5 more. Thank you guys for your patience. Why don't you guys pull it in if you're here so we can like make this feel a little more full for everybody that's pitching. Let's see all the empty chairs. All right.
Hi, my name is Joshua Lewis, and I'm a security camp engineer. I'm founding a company called Meeting. It's a nuclear rocket. Is this good?
Yeah.
Speak right into it. I'm founding the company called Meeting, which is a nuclear rocket engine company. Obviously, nuclear rocket engines are very complicated and require a big company to manufacture them. But nuclear rocket engines are necessary for in-space transportation, such as a cargo ship that transports cargo from Earth to the moon and back. Nuclear rocket engines are a whole class of engines. So there's a very simple form, which is called the Stirling cycle engine. There's been many other companies that have produced these, and we're currently prototyping this. This company that I'm creating is unique because we're solving 2 problems. We are seeking to alleviate the energy shortage here on Earth by creating an oversupply of energy and driving down the cost of energy. I believe nuclear power is the best chance we have to do this. In addition, there's a very large stigma against nuclear power. It is my job and the job of this company, the brand Meaning, to convince the people that nuclear power is safe and it is the future. That is sort of the goal by creating the brand called Meaning and having slogans such as "Seek Your Own Purpose." This is currently just the vision, but I'm currently talking to a co-founder who's more than capable of creating a nuclear reactor, and I'm doing an integrated 5-year master's on the heat transfer of thermal fluid side, which is the other half of the nuclear rocket engine. Thank you.
Awesome. So good job getting up here and pitching. It's a really interesting idea. It's a big space. We're working with a number of different types of rocket companies, both for engines, for hypersonics, there's stuff going into space, and there's a lot of innovation happening here. And I'm not a rocket scientist, but I know there's all different kinds of new engines coming out and new different ways to do things. And that's not even separate from nuclear, which I think is also super interesting as well, and brings a lot of new capabilities and is somewhat getting a bit of a renaissance. So I think that's all really great. With something like this, and you kind of got to this at the end, but I think the big differentiator is going to be giving yourself credibility, right? Like the whole idea of a rocket scientist that's the example people use for something almost like unbelievable or like unreachable, right? And so being able to give yourself the credibility of oh yeah, we're going to build a nuclear rocket. It's not that you can't, but that's the thing you got to convince everybody of.
Thank you.
Nuclear rocket engines would work in space, but they wouldn't work in the atmosphere?
So it's a class of rocket engines. They're very simple forms, which is just a nuclear reaction to heat up some sort of fluid to cause work to happen, which is a Stirling cycle engine. It's very simple and just generates electricity. Technically, nuclear rocket engine sounds really cool, but to get a big company that can create that, first have to monopolize a small market. Nuclear rocket engines themselves is sort of a giant nuclear reactor, which can be hooked up to something that's like a jet engine, and this would power a huge rocket ship in space. And this would be the most.
So it wouldn't be for inside of our atmosphere.
There's from the class of nuclear rocket engines, yes, it could. It could do either, depending on the engineering requirements.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone in this room is either a full-time student or it's a full-time job, right? Now picture this. Out of the blue, you're handed another full-time job. No choice, no salary, no preparation, and the pressure immense. because someone's life is quite literally in your hands. Imagine the weight of that responsibility, feeling unsupported, unqualified, yet unable to walk away. But that's the reality of caregiving. My mom's decade-long experience as the primary caregiver for my grandma with schizophrenia has truly been an eye-opener. This responsibility has taken a huge toll on her social, physical, and mental health. But this is true for 53 million Americans who are family caregivers with little to no guidance on how to take decisions for their loved ones every single day. But then research shows that if you're making the wrong decisions or giving poor quality of care, the patient's health is compromised and the patient is twice more likely to be hospitalized. This is why we want to empower caregivers to be able to take these decisions on their own using Cura. Cura is an AI-powered caregiving assistant that provides caregivers with all the help they need. It learns about the unique needs of the patients and the caregivers, the family's lifestyle, and provides easy-to-follow care strategies. Additionally, it makes recommendations on improvements of the mood and health of the patient, reminders about appointments, medication refills, etc. This cuts the need for overbooked social workers and healthcare providers. Now, why is the time for this now? The United States is currently experiencing a huge shortage of social workers, and caregivers currently rely on them for guidance. With social workers out of the picture, caregivers will have no one to go to. We have validated this demand through extensive market research by interviewing 40 plus caregivers, 11 healthcare providers, 8 social workers. We also have 2 of the nation's leading caregiving researchers on our team and 4 UT students who are extremely talented, helping us build out the product in the next couple of months. We are redefining care for those who give it the most. Here up.
So this AI assistant would assist, was it your mom who's taking care of your grandmother in this example? It would help your mom know what to do with grandma. So the only challenge with AI in the healthcare space is liability. If you're using, AI generally to, do web research, like the liability's low. Once you start doing caregiving, it's very high, and it's very regulated. So you're gonna have to be really thoughtful about that.
Yeah, we've been talking to lawyers because we can be HIPAA exempt. We're not collecting information that will cross the line for medical diagnosis. It's only lifestyle factors. So the recommendations we're making, we're not crossing the line when we're diagnosing the patient. We would recommend them to go to a doctor in case it comes to that. But yeah, we've talked to lawyers who are experts in healthcare, and they said we can be HIPAA exempt, so we're working on that right now.
So your recommendation might be more like take a walk, not like take some Advil. Okay. Awesome, good job. Y'all ready to rally for the clap on this one? It's less of us.
Okay. Imagine you're in a classroom and the teacher goes to write on the board, but you can't really see what they're writing. So you go to pull out your phone and take a photo, and then you fall a little bit behind, and then it happens again, and again, and then you think, what's the point of going to class? What's the point of engaging in an environment that is working against you? This is what you and 38.1 million students face every time they enter a classroom. But what if this could be solved? Poof, no more taking photos with your phone or relying on someone else's notes after class. So the next time you go in and your teacher's writing really small on that dusty chalkboard, all you have to do is pull out your tablet and open your front row note-taking app. So we connect to your university classroom cameras that are already installed, which take photos of what the professor's writing, whether that's on the chalkboard, whiteboard, or projected notes, and display that onto your app so that you can take notes directly next to an image of what the professor is writing. So far, we've met with 5 schools, 3 public, 1 private, and 1 community college, and we found that they see the immense struggle that visually impaired students and students with learning disabilities face because they can't see or they can't focus in these classrooms. And if students can't learn effectively, what's the point? So since schools are legally required to have accommodations that gives us easy access to their cameras, and since students really need a solution to note-taking and seeing notes, we provide a subscription
subscription basis for the note-taking app for these students. Front Row wants to make sure that every student feels the way they do now. We want to work with accommodations, not against them. Front Row, bringing the board to you.
That's the second time I've seen this, and it was great before it got way better.
Thank you.
So the product projects whatever's on the screen to everybody's devices or records it, or?
It projects its images. Right now, we're finding that video is a lot harder to display, so it's like kind of seeing it checks, has the professor added something to the board? If not, no new image. If yes, new image.
Cool. I think there's a lot of technology in the space. You probably have done some market research on that, like smart whiteboards have existed for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And so, do schools have those, or are you looking to compete in that space?
Universities, we found that majority don't. Like UT, I haven't. Oh, what they do have is they like screen record the class, and what's very common now is lecture recordings, especially since COVID. But lecture recordings, like that's great, but what's the point of having a lecture recording if you are not like having the access to ask questions in real time and have that like relationship with your professor?
The one thing every classroom has now is a camera.
Yeah.
You know, like you can do remote. That's
Yeah.
the one thing that's consistent across all.
Yeah, you know, I do wonder when students, you know, are part of these programs, I would just encourage you to always think about, can this exist in the business world as well?
Definitely.
And if so, under what circumstance and in what way can it manifest itself? There's a company called Miro. I think you may have heard of M-I-R-O, Miro. That you should take a look at. I think all of y'all.
That's like a smart whiteboard, right?
It's a smart whiteboard remote thing. It's done incredibly well for iteration in the remote work from home era. So I think that's something just generally that all these pitches would do really well. Just start thinking about when you start actually becoming a real world company, just getting that really deep market research and seeing what's out there.
Definitely. I think we've like noticed some like it's always amazing to see like how the interest expands from like more people that we talk to. So I definitely see that.
Great job.
Thanks.
Well done.
Hey everyone, my name is Rohit and I'm the founder of Reach. So, quick question to everyone: has there ever been someone that you wanted to reach out to, whether it's a creator, celebrity, or maybe professional, but it seems impossible to reach them? So maybe you tried sending a cold DM, maybe you tried sending a cold DM or a cold email, or maybe you didn't even bother because you realized, oh, it's probably a 0% chance I'll get a response. Well, that's where ReachMe comes into play. ReachMe is a monetized messaging platform that breaks down the walls between fans and creators, or really any person or expert with influence. So, I've seen firsthand just how a single conversation or connection can drastically change someone's life. But for the everyday person, getting that connection is almost impossible. So this is where ReachMe comes into play. ReachMe is a link in bio tool that creators or these business professionals can keep. And once fans go in there, click the link, set a donation price similar to Twitch, and go ahead and send a message. And based on the donation price they set, it'll tell them the likelihood of getting a response, with the highest donation price guaranteeing a response. So the cool thing about this product as well is you only pay for a successful interaction. So once you send a message, you only pay once the person responds to you. And so a little bit about kind of how this product works. If anyone's familiar with Twitch donations, imagine Twitch donations combined with Instagram DMs. So every year, over $80 million worth of Twitch donations are sent to creators, where fans are sending money to basically support and just send a message to live streamers in hopes of getting some sort of reaction. But the thing is, live streamers are only like a small fraction of people with audiences, and like the opportunity for this is like huge with a lot of people who aren't live streamers. So that's where ReachMe comes in and kind of bridges the gap. So the part that you probably care most about, kind of where I'm at with this. So as far as my progress, I bootstrapped the whole product myself, designed everything, built it out, and launched it. And I launched it with a YouTuber with over 10 million subscribers by the name of Beluga. And so during our 24-hour test launch, with zero active promotion and just a link in bio, we were able to turn just 300 site visitors to over 30 paid customers, generating a few hundred in revenue within just the first 24 hours. And that's kind of where I'm at with ReachMe. So thank you.
So I get pitched on this idea or versions of it every year for the past 10. which is
Because people want you to be the one paying for their time.
well, a little bit of that, sure, and it creates a weird dynamic for me because I'm an investor, and it looks weird for me to have founders who need money, pay me to ask me for money, and then me to tell them no. So I generally have stayed out of this, but there is a whole category of experts, and then in the OnlyFans world, people create like many, they outsource it to like people in Manila, literally, who are trained how to flirt and be flirtatious. And there's been some class action lawsuits now with people who were like whales who thought they were in a relationship with a certain star, and they weren't. But there's definitely something here. I think, you know, watching Cameo was part of this manifestation. There's a live streamer who does there's a live streaming tool called TTS, text to speech, where you take a picture of a QR code, you type in your message, and then you pay for it. And then when the live stream is on, it reads it out loud like in a celebrity voice or like any kind of voice. So you can just type like a trolling message to these folks and they have to hear it because it plays it live. And so there's definitely something here. And I was mentioning before the YouTube channel, Knicks Fan TV. When the Knicks win and I talk to them, I will, just to support them, send them $25, sometimes $100. And I just write a note, like, you know, how I thought the game went. And they're just totally stoked to get $100 on YouTube. And for me, I'm like, yeah, you know, I don't have to pay for the next game, and it's just a nice thing to do. So there's definitely something here. I think you could capture people. The more lightweight and friction-free this is, the better. And Patreon, I think, offers a version of this too.
Yeah, so actually, so the YouTuber that I worked with, he actually tried Patreon before. And so like one of the biggest problems that he was facing for an instance he faced was like, he didn't want to manage like a whole paid for community, and like he just like wanted just to quickly manage like DMs. And with Patreon, it was
so
like
pop it up fast.
Yeah, pop it up fast, and also.
So I think that could be your very cool idea here is to pop it up fast, make it simple. Like how few clicks can it take to set this up, put in my Stripe account or my PayPal, whatever I use, and tweet it. And Reach Me is a very cool brand name, and your landing page is beautiful. Are you a designer?
Yeah, I kind of just did everything.
You're a designer and a coder.
Yeah.
So you have value in the world. You write code and you can design a beautiful page. So like just being able to do what you just did with a prototype of an interesting idea and make it look beautiful. One of the 13 variables we look for in companies we fund is world-class design. Now you don't have world-class design right now, but you have a 7.5 out of 10, which means if you iterated on this 3 or 4 more times, you can get 8.5, maybe a 9. And if you really had some flavor here, maybe Apple would eventually feature you. And so I really encourage you to look at your design and look at the workflow. How few clicks to get it up and running, how simple, and then how generous can you be to these creators. They're very sensitive to the fact that they have to pay 10, 20, 30, 45% of their revenue in most of these arrangements. So if you gave them the option to pay 10% or $50 a month, people who are the whales in the system might pay $50 a month plus 2% versus whatever people who would just pay 10% flat rate. So you're onto something. Keep thinking it through, and then maybe multiple media types is another way to go.
Yeah.
So text response, you know, guaranteed at $10, video response guaranteed at 50, you know, or audio response at 20. So one of the things about a good idea like this is when people have additional ideas, and you seem like the right person to create this. So I like your design. I like the simplicity of the idea. Well done.
Thank
awesome.
All right.
You should meet Maddie here and
One
come
more.
to Founder University.
All right, one more tonight.
Here we go. This has been fun.
Last but not least.
So, students are student credit, right? Most students do not have a credit card until after they graduate, and the interest rate rewards that they receive are awful, just flat out awful. And so there are a lot of resources online for you guys to find good checking accounts, the same, but you can't get them all at the same place. And so one of the best ways for students to build credit is a secure credit card. And there are some platforms that offer secure credit card. You go through a company like Chime, get your interest rate, and you get your credit card. But going through, you know, in school, I walked out to Speedway every day, which is the main route to get to classes I need to. And I see hundreds of brands all trying to give me free stuff. And so my thesis was that when I talk to these brands is that maybe they would be willing to offer discounted merchandise that then students could redeem for the points that they earn. And so I talked to about 40 of these brands, and we had about 80 to 90% of these brands say, yes, we would be willing to offer discounted merchandise to college students. And so the idea was we're offering a secure credit line, which means that you're going to put the money on the credit card before you start spending it. You're going to be able to earn rewards points and interest rates on your credit on your savings account. They're going to be standard industry rates, but then when we offer you redemption for discounted merchandise, it's going to amplify your rates better than any bank in the world could provide. So our bank, the one that we're talking to right now, can give us a rate that's pretty standard for a community bank, right? You get 3.5%, 4%. But when you guys are redeeming those, when your students are redeeming those for 50% discounted merchandise, we're able to give you 6%, 7%, 8%, which no other bank in the world can offer because they're capped by the Fed funds rate. They're capped by what bonds are yielding. And the great thing is yields go up. If we're in an inflationary environment, then our rates will go up too. So we can always beat the banks. We can beat them on credit. We can beat them on checking. We can beat them everywhere. And then the other things is since we're only working with students, we can niche towards students and we can offer them things that they really want. We can be completely online, which cuts our costs. We can do peer-to-peer. We can offer simple investments, simple bond and stock accounts that are going to allow students to introduce to investments without all the complex knowledge that they're not going to have. And we can also offer financial services. So there's a lot of ways we can make money here. We're going to make a spread on interchange fees. We're going to make a spread on interest rates. We're going to allow brands to, within the shop, rewards to advertise. And then the big thing is we've got 13 million college students. There's about 4 million college students that leave the system every single year. We're going to be able to actually sell those accounts as a referral rate to the larger banks that have more complex financial institutions, so that once we're done with them, that they're no longer in college and our accounts are no longer valuable with them, we can earn revenue off the sale of those.
It's super complex. I worry that students don't give a shit about savings, etc.
We talk to students, they said they do.
They do care about getting 3, 4, 5, 6%.
50% of students would switch immediately, and about another 50% of the ones that said no said they would switch if the process was relatively easy.
So you'll find out when you do it. And there is something where credit cards and Robinhood and Coinbase and a lot of different folks want to get to students early, to DraftKings, other folks. How many people here have DraftKings or Prize Picks on their phone? Raise your hand if you gamble. 1, 2, 3. How many people have Robinhood? Oh. How many have Coinbase? Okay, wow. That's fascinating.
Sports betting is illegal in Texas.
A lot of things are illegal, son. Don't get caught, it's my best advice. I'm joking, don't do anything illegal.
Awesome, hey, really
Seriously, don't do anything illegal.
I like that what I really liked is like you have data, you talk to people, you have customers. Yeah, it's something you gotta,
That's a really good moment for you. Build your credibility.
Yeah, and so.
And that's why I presented it as I wonder, or I'm curious.
You can tell he's gotten burned before.
Well, no, when you're a VC, you don't know. Like, I wonder, do students care about 2, 3, 4, 5%, or do they care about like getting beer and going to a cool party and getting?
We talk to alcohol brands actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, the fact that you're even thinking about financial engineering and how to get people addicted to a product and how to bring merchants into this, like you're thinking at how old are you?
18.
Yeah, like you're 18 and you're trying to figure this out. I don't know that you figured it out yet, but you're on your way. And somewhere in this madness is a business for sure. What that business exactly is, I always tell entrepreneurs, keep your periphery vision going. And if you see something, sometimes pulling over to the side of the road, your original idea is the road, and you're on that path. Sometimes pulling over and checking out what's going on the side of the road. Why is everybody over here? And it's like, oh yeah, there's another thing down this side road. What's down that side road? Oh, that's interesting. Maybe you find a better idea. And that's what being in the game is really about. It's like a good thing to end on here for all y'all, is once you get in the game, like you're still here, you didn't leave. Just stay in the game, and you hang around the rim, and then the ball lands in your lap. Like, you will get lucky if you keep trying these, keep hanging around the rim.
And you learn from trying and doing.
Absolutely. By just like scrolling TikTok bullshit, whatever you kids are up to these days. You'll learn by doing stuff and building projects. And man, I had so many ideas when I was in college, like little things I wanted to try, books I wanted to write, magazines I wanted to start. And then finally I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start a magazine. And that was like the punk rock thing to do in college. I started Cyber Surfer magazine, then I started Silicon Alley Reporter magazine. That magazine hit. Cyber Surfer didn't work, 5 episodes, issues have lasted. And that was about multimedia, but then I did Silicon Alley Reporter about the internet.
You're saying that fast. It was Silicon Alley.
Silicon Alley
So
Reporter.
Silicon
about the
Alley
New York
was kind
scene.
of like New York. You know,
Started as a
Silicon Valley.
16-page photocopy. The first issue, I sold the ads out. And like 1,000 people subscribed for $100 each in the first issue or two. It was a 16-page photocopy. And all of a sudden, hundreds of people subscribed for $90 a year, $100 a year. And I was in business. And I was like, holy shit. By the 5th issue, it was a color glossy magazine. I had 10 people working for me and $50,000 an issue in advertising. By the peak, we did $12 million in revenue. It was a 200 or 300 page magazine. All of this had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with the internet hit public consciousness, and you could get on the internet for $30 a month. And then that was 1995, 1996. And I rode the wave. And riding the wave, if you are a great surfer and you go to a beach at low tide, how good of a surfer are you going to be? Nobody will know, because there's no fucking waves. It's much easier to find a wave and ride it, isn't it? So you have to also go to enough beaches to find those waves. And you cannot get discouraged that you went to a beach, there's no waves. That doesn't mean you're a bad surfer. Some of the ideas here are not going to work because there's the tide's out on the idea. We had one person who had an idea about like email responses. And it was like, well, that's not going to work. There's too many other people doing it. The tide's out on that one. Other ideas, like maybe it will work because you're part of a momentum that's building. And I've seen people, Josh has seen people who are incredibly dumb and unskilled hit a wave perfectly and make a shit ton of money. And we've seen the smartest people you could ever imagine get incredibly frustrated and bitter because they had an incredible idea and they mistimed the wave and they got fucking wiped out by it. You ever get like bited on a wave? Anybody? Get smashed into the surf?
Every time I try to surf.
Every time you try to surf, exactly. And so the timing of the wave is part of this. And then the people who become great at it are the ones who are patient and don't give up. And then boom, finally you do hit the wave and you're like, I can kind of feel the waves now. You get like a little bit of a sixth sense of it. And so that's my encouragement to the 20% who made it to the end. You guys are going to figure it out.
Yeah, thank you guys for staying. That was awesome. Those were some great pitches. Let's give a big round of applause to everybody that pitched. In the interest of time, I'm gonna make some quick executive decisions. One, I want to give a thank you to Jason. Really appreciate your spending your time with us here. And
Literally, anytime you ask me to do this, I'll say yes, because I love it.
all right, well, I'm gonna hold you to it. But you're awesome. Your feedback's really both. It's not just entertaining and funny, but super helpful, and it's entertaining and funny. And I think the students really appreciate it. I've got something for you. I do. I always do. Not shoes this time. But it's a Capital Factory Yeti bottle opener. It's a weapon. You cannot take this on a plane. But in particular, we have 3 versions of it. And they have 3 different sayings. But one of them, very appropriately for you, is launch. So I wanted to give you this.
Wow.
It's serious. It's like a weapon. So and $1,000. I have $1,000 cash here. They're $1,000 bills, crisp and brand new. And they're brand new. Here we go. And so that'll be a picture for the keeper. All right, and then for the winner, there are a lot of great pitches today. And to be honest, like I don't have some sophisticated judging system of points or anything like that. I was going to go confer with Jason in the interest of time. I just was keeping my notes, and I'm going to give it to the one that I thought was both a great pitch. It was like very compelling, and also sounded like a really interesting business, and really hit on not just the product, but like the business parts of why this was compelling, and that goes to Anita. One more. Yeah. Yep, so come on up here, take a picture of me and Jason. Yeah, hop in the middle here with the dog, yeah, there you go.
Right here, I got you ready? 3, 2, 1.
All right. Thank you guys for staying and stay tuned for round 2. Is anyone still interested in pitching? Okay, cool.
If you're interested in working with our team, Maddie is here who works with me. I have to go for some daughters today.
Yes.
But she works with me and she can explain to you our programs and how we invest. And she's more than happy to stay as late as you want her to. She'll be here till midnight talking about startups because she's as passionate about startups and founders as Josh.
And Nick here can talk about the class in Capital Factory too. So.
And everybody give it up for the Colorado supporter of startups.
Amber?
Hey guys, take the extra pizza also. We have plenty of extra pizza, take boxes of it. It's all for you, take it.
Pretty fucking good, right? Yo!
That's electric.
That is like. Did it stop?
Still going. You can keep going.
We're still going? What do you mean?
Just like a break.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
But it's like,
Yeah, Jason.
Josh is leaving.
It's on there, so like at some point
Hey, is there anyone who's still interested in pitching? Anyone? Pitching? One? Two? All right, let's do it.
All right, let's rip it. What's up? Now I know, yeah, your voice is fucked up.
Having your experience in gaming, you know, these wonderful gamers, Roblox, which is like a YouTuber games, gamers who can create and make amazing games.
Oh, that's me. I'm supposed to be watching the baby box. No worries. It's all right. My bad, my bad.
Having over 280 million building communities in Roblox is like a YouTube games where game developers can come, create, and make money from the games. It's now the world's largest and fastest growing game platform. But what if I told you that despite having 2.5 million developers, that less than 1% are actually making money from the games, not because of lack of talent or saturation, but simply because despite these developers knowing how to make great games, they often lack the expertise and resources in key areas needed to succeed, such as marketing or sales. That's why us at Young Growth, we help these developers by funding their games in exchange for revenue share and equity. We give these developers access to our ecosystem of influencers with millions of subscribers, as well as we help these developers sustain their games through brand partnerships with companies like Walmart, for example, we know in the past. Let's take Jacob, a young developer who's struggling to get his game soon. We provided Jacob funding, as well as boosted his marketing with knowledge on the platform's algorithm, as well as our ecosystem of influencers. After relaunching, Jacob's game became one of the top fighting games on the platform, and quickly got sold to a larger studio for over $500,000, despite it only taking $15,000 to make. Jacob was able to pay for college completely and became a full-time game developer, while us, we made over 50 times how much we invested in. Despite we made over 50 times how much we invested in just 1 month. Up to date, not including our exits, we only have 4 small games, but we already have an annual revenue of over 100,000, with 60 to 80% profit margins depending on the game. And with your help and Roblox at the very beginning, help us, help these developers turn their games into businesses. Thank you.
Nice. So this is a true story?
That is a true story. Jacob, you got in Houston.
Nice. When did you start this?
So we kind of like our game studio trend accelerator. We started like around 4 years back when I was the main game. I was a programmer and my brother was like business side, and we made games, made money from there. We kind of like said, there's a larger market and like investing in other people's games. So we don't have like to build it from base, so we cost a lot more money. So we kind of like switched over around a year and a half back, and then now we're like mainly investing in like build things forward.
Interesting. When you pitch, you want to stand still.
That's wrong.
Yeah, you're covering. You don't want to get your steps in while you're pitching.
Yeah.
Usually, you see most. This is the pro tip. Most stages will have a little mark where you're supposed to stand. You see, that's the mark right there.
Yeah.
So just plan yourself.
And I just
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's distracting to be walking back and forth, and it kind of lets me know you're nervous. And so yeah, just plan. You know, you can maybe take a step or two, but you know, you're full. So you always want to have a good command over the audio system. I think you just you want to have the mic a little closer. So there's people in the room. I don't think it was quite loud enough. I know your voice is a little off as well, so you gotta like overcompensate for that sometimes.
So this is the main value proposition is that you have this influencer network and you provide distribution for young game developers. Is there another bucket of value you provide, or is the influencer network the main thing?
Yes, essentially, the influencers is a really big part because a lot of times game developers, they have like a hard time marketing the game. But I would say like there's another half of where we're helping them with like operations in terms of like knowing how to manage a project. Because a lot of times they kind of like do it like messages back and forth, and then teaching the boss to losing assets, to losing like valuable files that they need. So that's like another part that we do. And then we also do live ops or kind of like sustainability. So in terms of like a lot of developers, they launch their game, they have great marketing, and they kind of like after a week or 2 weeks, their game goes from like having a large player count to like essentially 0 because they don't know how to like do an update sequence with enough assets, or how to like, they don't understand how to sustain their game for longer, which at the end is where the majority of their money comes from in the game industry. So we kind of like help them not only in launching, but like sustaining, and we kind of like give them essentially everything a developer would need other than like creating a game from the startup. But we also do deliver that as well if we feel like the idea is good enough at the beginning.
You're a student right now? You're a student.
Oh yeah, I'm a student.
Yeah. You're sophomore.
Yeah.
You started this before you were in college, or?
Yeah, I started in high school.
Impressive. Everything okay back there?
I assume so.
Sorry. I'm sure they're fine. Are you familiar with Genesis?
No.
It's an avenue on campus for student startups to get funding, and they're actually doing a special challenge around gaming ventures. It kicks off next Thursday. There's an event. I'll invite you, and you should apply for the funding. Yeah, Paul, do you know Paul Tobrak? You gotta be Paul Dirac, he's the main professor that helps students develop games. Like every semester, he has like a ton of students building games, and you can be a great partner. So he'll be there next Thursday. So connect with me after this, and you should totally get involved with that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Great job. All right. Get my phone. Here, Clint, come sit right here, and I'm like, well, listen, I'm gonna give you this info. Just give me 1 second. All right. All you. Chris.
Hey y'all, I'm Chris Jacoby, and I'm here with Asher. Let's use Zane as an example. Zane just played the game of his life. He's stoked. He's gonna show off that footage on social media and share it with prospective coaches. But wait, he just remembered that none of his friends want to spend hours of their day recording him. He can't afford to hire a professional videographer. And the last time he took the leap to being that guy that set up his tripod, the footage and animal quality before. Luckily for him, there's Asher, professionally recording 24/7. Now for the press of a Chipotle bowl, he's able to share and relive his memories forever. As technology partners with Hikvision, the largest security camera company in the world, we have access to extremely competitive prices on high quality cameras. Once these cameras are installed, they stream to our software and give athletes direct, instant, and affordable access to their HD footage via our web app. It's as easy as play, scan, and save. We're first starting in recreational facilities like pickleball and soccer. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the US. Soccer is the largest sport in the world, with the World Cup coming to the States in 2026. Athletes spend an average of 5 to 10 hours practicing for every hour of game time, and a significant amount of that practice time is spent at the recreational facility. As a former collegiate and semi-professional player myself, these statistics ring true. There have been countless times where I played a great game only for that memory to be lost forever. Action's here to change that. We've piloted at One Blue Pickleball in downtown Austin and have agreed to install at 2 more locations in Houston by the end of next week. Our vision is that of a world where every person has access to their footage that they can share and relive with their friends, families, and one day their grandkids. We hope you join us on the journey to make that a real world.
Thank you. What makes you different than other sports analytics platforms that I've seen?
Well, we're targeting the recreational market, not the pro markets that's doing analytics. Like when you go, if you go and play at LA Fitness, like really any recreational facility, there aren't cameras recording you. It's just a rec facility. You can't get that footage unless you put your phone up, and your phone up is usually bad quality. Things happen, so it doesn't really work.
My sense is the pickleball players would really just want like analytics in their outfit, like who their friends are.
Yeah, well, a lot of players would like to have their footage to share. There's a massive market of.
So is this for analyzing or for social content?
Just having your content. People don't even.
I didn't catch that pitch. I might just feel a little feedback. And at first, yeah, the beginning of the pitch was a little rushed and quick. And then I kind of got it. But I always like think of these things, camera sports, as more like analyzing my swing and golf. And it's like, no, like people, you gotta like, people are playing pickleball because they like, I don't know, like this is probably not the right pitch, where it's like, they can't play any other sport, it's really hard. So we've invented pickleball and everyone loves it, and like they want to share and post it. But they don't.
Right, people don't even have the access to it.
Can you create good content like with these cameras? Like
Yep, HD, instantly accessible.
This is being used somewhere?
Yep.
Where at?
In Waterloo Pickleball in downtown.
Really?
It's on 5th Street.
Or what? You just go there.
You go there,
start to pickle out.
play with your game, with your friends, 5 to 6. You had one awesome play, and you're like, damn, I really want that footage. I'll put it on Instagram. Wait, no one recorded. Wait, there's Asher. I'll pay for my footage from 5 to 6.
So you charge me for the footage?
Yes.
How much am I gonna pay?
We're doing it based on the amount of time that you choose. 0 to 30 minutes at $4.99, 30 to an hour, $7.99, an hour and 2.
Why charging by the minute?
Sorry?
Why are you charging by time?
AWS expenses on the back end where all this is stored, it's going to cost more. The processing, we're having to clip the video where you're exact, because it's streaming 24/7, but the back end code has to clip video, has to merge videos. The more time you ask for,
You're basing it on the cost.
Yes.
But what about, I mean, the customer doesn't really care how much it costs you, they care about the value it creates to them.
Sure.
I'm interested yet skeptical. I think you really gotta like put me in the mode of like I'm just not convinced that the people that want this content that badly aren't just gonna take it on their iPhone. You know, and like it feels like everyone's like
there's
taking a lot of good pictures and that's not
right
a problem.
But like I mentioned in the pitch, it's like how many people want to be that guy that's setting up the tripod? One. Two, like there's definitely friction there. Two, someone calls you 5 minutes for your game, that video's done, the video stopped. Three, depending on where you're at, you just have your phone out, you can't use it for anything else, you can't call people. Depending on where you're at, someone could snatch your phone. And again, really just the biggest thing, the friction. Would I rather do all these things or pay $4.99 for my video?
How many people are paying for it right now?
At the pickleball place, we've only had a couple purchases. We installed a week and a half ago. And we're at one court. We're expanding to Houston where it's soccer. I think soccer has a massive market. Like I said, I came from that world. That's what I lived my entire life. It's been my personal experience. If this was available for me from when I was 10 to now, I would have bought hundreds of videos that would be in my dashboard, hundreds of
I
memories.
mean, you were like taking it seriously.
Hundreds of memories.
It's like I see that I see a lot more. Is like I want to be a professional sports player. My dad isn't like making all of my videos and hot takes and shit. Like I don't have that, which all the rich kids do. And like I want, you know, my own highlight reel, and this is a very affordable way to do that. That kind of resonates more with me. And yeah, and I think maybe just evaluate different payment and like different revenue models. Like maybe
We're
there's
also
a free
thinking subscription. You know, some players might want the video a ton of time, so maybe it's a
keep thinking
monthly $29.99 you can come.
Just keep experimenting with different things. I wonder if there's a free version, right? I also don't know if people are gonna like go over and like, oh, here's $5 for the video. Like usually when I get content at something, it's always free. And there's like an ad back end or this maybe the core. Maybe if like all this content has like the brand of Waterloo Pickleball in it, then like they actually pay you because then it creates a bunch of content online with their brand. So
Okay.
cool stuff. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Last one, or do we have anyone else?
One more?
Anyone else? All right. Oh, you put your shoes back on. Dang.
Good evening. My name is Walt Boxwell, and I'm a senior here at UT. Throughout my time here, my biggest learning has been that sharing expenses with roommates sucks. Here's how it typically goes down. One roommate fronts an expense like energy or internet, and then submits requests for reimbursement via Venmo, Splitwise, or some other peer-to-peer payment platform that just doesn't really work for this situation. Here's why it doesn't work. Just because that roommate submits that request for reimbursement doesn't mean the other roommates are obligated to pay them back in a timely manner. Because of that roommate can be down hundreds of dollars on a monthly basis. And as a broke college student, like myself, this can be financially ruining. Because of this issue, non-essential services such as streaming and cleaning miss out on the entire shared housing market, which in America is almost 100 million people, 20 million of which are college students. At least that's how it used to be. I'd like to introduce HouseTabs. HouseTabs is the very first fintech platform that allows shared households to operate as a single financial entity. Houses are able to shop our marketplace and sign up for services from energy to cleaning. When you sign up for a service through the HouseTabs platform, you're essentially putting that in your house's name as opposed to an individual roommate's. HouseTabs acts as the intermediary between roommates and service providers, ensuring each roommate is equally obligated for their portion of the expenses they add to their house. Currently, HouseTabs is working to enhance our technology and grow our marketplace by bringing on new service providers. We've been testing the product here in Austin with about 25 test users, and each of which has given us extremely positive feedback. However, we plan to launch in the fall of 2025 in Dallas, Texas, partnering with Rhythm Energy and Sparkly Maid Service. And we're going to be targeting students at the city's largest universities. With the $1,000 that I win tonight, I will be buying a Capital Factory membership so I can utilize the membership. Utilize the membership and the connections and the co-working, so I'll be ready for launch by next fall. Thank you. Who wants to join me on this mission to transform the way roommates share expenses?
So how is it different than Splitwise?
So Splitwise, there's still one roommate that puts their like card on file with the service provider, and then they get charged. They enter the amount to Splitwise, and they still are waiting for roommates to pay them.
And so your company is now putting your card on file, and you're the one that's not going to get paid back? I don't
Yeah.
understand how this
So we act as so it's for most services, it's an escrow system. Roommates will pay beforehand, and then once everyone's paid up, then the service, the transaction is executed.
But what if they don't?
What if they don't? So Energy, we're gonna be doing a credit check on all of our users, and then we'll charge a security deposit as well. There's a house status. So house status is our accountability model.
I mean, how many of your customers and students will not even have a credit score? Yeah, we just heard that most don't get their first credit card before after they graduate.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a great answer for that.
I mean, but it still is just like, sorry, you like these energy companies, if you don't have all the money, they're still gonna charge you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I do the security deposit before.
How much is the security deposit?
It'll be like $300 per house. That's standard for energy companies to do that as well. So I mean, it's less risk than the energy company takes on. We're only taking on a portion of the risk. And in most households, you're gonna have multiple people that are responsible, and then maybe there's just that one guy that's not responsible, and that's where our accountability model, there's a house status, that one roommate misses the payment, the house status is negatively affected. So house status is a free platform for roommates. Unless people aren't paying on time, then everybody in the house is gonna be charged a service fee. So the following month on the transactions, that way I have those roommates going after the irresponsible roommate.
It makes sense. I just don't know if they care, kind of what Jason was talking about earlier. It's a kind of a red flag to me where you say 25 people use it and they all give you extremely good feedback.
I guess they didn't
probably not asking the right questions.
2 out of
just
25
lying to
gave
you.
me feedback.
2 out of 25 gave you good feedback.
Well, they've given me feedback. I haven't really asked the ton of feedback.
So that.
But I mean,
your statement of 25 users all giving you extremely positive feedback is not right lie.
It was I stretched the truth. Most of my users are my friends, and they say it's awesome. Okay,
2,000%.
Okay, no, it's not a lie because they have given me feedback like, oh, dude, yeah, this app's sick.
Oh, extremely positive.
That's and then one was like, hey, like, how do I invest in this? Like,
what'd you tell him?
I just told him I wasn't raising money.
Bro, should have sent him a safe note.
Like, it's good to know. I mean, I told him I'd get back to him, so I mean that opportunity still stands.
Usually people want to bust my company out.
But it's only gonna be. I mean, it's a college kid, so he's gonna be maybe $1,000, which.
Your minimum's higher than that.
So I think.
Wait, so this is being used right now? Like 25, like legit being used? Or like,
12,
are you just like,
like 13 current users, and then over the summer I had 2.
How many different sets of roommates is that?
3.
3. So you have 3 tests.
Yeah, 3 tests. Well, 2 right now, but it's a duplex, so it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
So there's an A and
You
B.
keep changing your numbers on me.
Yeah. Well, I kind of say 4 because duplex.
3 to 2, not a 4.
Alright, well, the duplex is 2 houses, but it's one house. The duplex is 2 houses, but 1 house. It's getting mixed up in my head. But another interesting thing is
You obviously got a tough judge tonight.
Yeah.
That's kind of weighed
Yeah.
here.
Well, I like sharpening my.
It's a nifty idea. I also would like think of like other scenarios that like outside of students that this type of thing could work for. Is there a way you can like make float, you know,
Yeah.
like with different shit?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
really like do with it.
So I bring up cleaning services. I think that's an interesting one because my junior year, we really wanted the cleaning service, but nobody wanted to front the cleaning service. And so,
What if you get a free apartment cleaning if you put your $300 deposit in?
yeah, well, my go-to-market strategy is I'm gonna give them, so I can make $100 each time they sign up for energy through House Apps, which isn't great, I know that, but it's a one-time referral fee type deal. So I'm gonna give them $50 credit to use cleaning service like early on, so that way I just have them using House Apps for cleaning, by like month 1, and then they'll be like, month 2 will be around, and then priming and exposure, like we just have the marketplace, we can send them like, hey, like y'all's house is probably dirty, do y'all each wanna pay $30 per roommate to clean the house?
I think you're onto something.
And then,
Last thought, I see we have one more.
okay,
I was supposed to be on I also have a family that Josh doesn't care as much about as Jason's family, but I
yeah,
do.
well, thank you for listening. And then one more interesting thing is streaming, because I think Netflix, nobody wants to front $15 for the entire house, but everybody wants Netflix. So whenever I'm selling it in the marketplace, it's like $3 per roommate. Everyone's like, that's like nothing. Like, screw it. Let's take on Netflix and YouTube TV. We use YouTube TV in my house. We're house tabsing it. It's added to our house tabs.
Are you in the duplex?
Yeah, I'm in the yeah, I am. In the duplex.
This guy's just trying to get his roommates to fucking pay him. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
If you've got to go, honestly, I've been pitched 1,000 times.
I'm not gonna do that to you. You're already on the stage. What would it be like if I just said yes? Okay, bye. Just left you like that. So, well, thank you. I love you for that. But Jason has me very questioning my self-worth, and I'm trying to put in as many hours as I can.
Well, we'll help you run on the clock with this one.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, right on. Okay. Thank you, Trace. Yeah. So by the time we're done with our discussion, somewhere around the U.S., a firefighter will either be injured or dead in the line of duty. There are over 400,000 structural fires every year, one every 65 seconds, that cause hundreds of casualties, thousands of injuries, and billions of dollars in damage. And worst of all, firefighters are legally obligated to be searching these buildings for victims. 100% of the building needs to be searched every single time. The issue is 70% of the time, there is no one inside. Firefighters are searching empty buildings, getting injured, and dying because of it. And there really hasn't been anything that has addressed that until now. So my company, Paradigm Robotics, we have built Firebot. It is the world's first wirelessly controlled, thermally insulated search and rescue robot. So it can deploy into these burning buildings and provide real-time situational awareness to firefighters. Is there a victim? How hot is the fire? Is there hazardous condition? All this information can be given to firefighters. And we are good up to 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. We are the world's hottest robot. And in addition to that, we have innovated on 14 other technology verticals, from our rugged stair climbing platform to our unique sensor fusion model that delivers these crucial insights for firefighters. And we got to a point a few years ago where we realized a much larger hole in the market exists. There is a need for cheap, rugged robots for hazardous environments. So even beyond firefighting, there are applications in oil and gas, defense, industrial spaces. All the above, these are all solutions where we can make small improvements to Firebot or changes to the technology that is on it to serve these other markets. And so we have 50 partners in fire, police, oil and gas, industrial, defense, and emergency markets that we are working with to develop these different sort of versions of Firebot. Yeah, we just finished our friends and family round a few months ago. We have built 4 versions of the robot so far that we've deployed and tested. We'll be gearing up for a pre-seed round in Q1 of next year, and we're ultimately using that to scale commercially and establish ourselves as the company with the robot forged by flames.
The hot bot. You went through the class, right? This was
one of my co-founders.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah. Remember this. Why a ground robot, not a drone? That might be a dumb question, but I am curious.
No, not at all. It is very logical. The number one reason is in a fire you have a lot of traps, a lot of air currents that it's extremely difficult to count on.
Yeah. Got it. Interesting.
Also, the thermal protection side, making it effectively what a tank fireproof is much easier.
Your pitch devolved a bit at the end, and it tells me you are struggling to find product market fit, or it at least indicated you're lacking some focus, because you told me all about this fire thing, but then you said, oh, there's these other applications we're going at. Yeah, I think robots most of them are very rigid, and you either like own something, kill it, do really well, or there's like the big vision of like a general purpose robot. It's not really what you're doing here. So I think it's just like really like, the thing is, as an investor, it's like good pitch, firebot. Then like all this other stuff just came in, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe you may not be in focus, but it kind of comes across that way, because most entrepreneurs are on focus, and like what they can't do is rein in their vision and actually build something. So it helps. And then also, like, usually investors, if you do a really good job explaining one use case, and you're like, oh, and that would also easily work over here. Like we've got kind of like the broad vision, and it's actually better to like give us one concrete, very specific example, and then that actually allows us to translate that to these other use cases pretty much on our own.
That does make sense. I think I think the struggle maybe I had was resolving that sort of full focus on firefighters, which is sort of our core market, with also demonstrating that we have all these other things in our periphery, and that there's a much greater ocean out there just beyond fire.
Yeah, I kind of describe this as like every investor likes to eat their steak a little bit different. Like we all kind of like meat up to this general temperature, but and so there's some investors that they'll hear the fire thing like, oh, it's not big enough. Like, pitch me a bigger idea, and that sends these entrepreneurs into this like almost contrived path of trying to like make a startup that investors like, versus actually like staying true to what you're trying to do. And so, yeah, I think just own it, and then you want them to be like, oh yeah, couldn't you just go do this in like oil and gas refineries or other things? Like, yeah, right, that's next. You want them to come in. So I like the closing. I'm a little, I think,
you can be mean. You can say it sucks. You can say the pitch sucks.
I don't think it sucks. I just think there's a breakthrough yet to happen for you guys, and I think there's more. There's something else here, just within the fire thing, and forest fires might be another thing to look at, or I don't know. But I've always been interested in what you guys are doing. But I it's a hard cookie to crack with the fires. I mean, how has it really been going and pitching to the fire departments? Like, what do they say to this?
Sure. So what happens at first, firefighters naturally are a little resistant to change and technology.
Everyone loves innovation until they're innovated upon.
That is true, until we get them to understand that they are not being replaced; they're being augmented. Firefighters, when they're at a scene of the fire and they're going searching, they have literally no regard for their life, and often that ends up in tragedy. So when we get across the point of this robot can go in and take the hit for you, that is where it clicks for a lot of firefighters. And we've seen that in how we've adjusted our messaging over the years, and how we've developed our product to really be able to not only augment what a firefighter's doing, but do it so much better than them. With our thermal cameras, we can see through the smoke, a million times better than a firefighter can.
Right.
And so, to that end, we've seen an increase in our LOIs lately. Also, as we rolled out our new version, which is much more functional than the first three, that also helps. So we're getting within firefighting to where we need to be. Like we're testing out at Texas A&M their firefighter training facility. So we're pushing hard.
Nice. Well, it's not going to be easy to sell to them, and if you feel like you are making progress, then just keep rocking and rolling. We talked to Sam from Quake.
I haven't personally. Chances are Sid has.
Yeah, y'all should, if not, talk to Sam. He's had success selling to a ton of firefighters and the big departments, LA. He might have some good advice for him. So, thanks for coming up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Anyone else? That's it. All right. Well, bummer. I was hoping to stay longer. Good stuff, y'all. Thank you for staying late. Thank you, Amber and Everett, for turning the chaos into order. By the way, I think